Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Matt Taylor. Welcome to Spitballing. I'm here with my good buddy,
Kyle Amundsen.
And today we have Angel Pacheco in the house. How you doing, Angel?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
I'm doing great.
Good.
So we've been wanting to have you on forever, and we wanted to have you on before your big fight, but that didn't happen because we're lazy. It's summer, man.
Yeah, it is.
Indeed.
Yeah, summer's been. We have not, to you fans out there who have been, eagerly awaiting us putting out episodes. It has been a little light this summer, but
We're sorry to all of our fans, both of you.
yeah. Sorry, Shelly.
So your opponent, by the way, can you pronounce his name? Because I couldn't fucking pronounce his name.
I know his first name was Vilson, but then the rest was like Nomegu-Badov. I don't.
Man, I know that like he's Armenian.
No, he was
Albanian.
Albanian. So that's the Middle East somewhere.
And he, let's see, his nickname.
Was
his
Strong
nickname was
Eagle.
the Strong Eagle.
Yeah, Strong Eagle.
Did he go?
Right?
He did not.
What's that show with the big eagle?
Eagly.
The hero
with fucking John Cena.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this.
It's so dumb.
It's fucking amazing.
I watched maybe like 4 episodes of it. But who's the superhero? It's
Peacemaker.
Peacemaker, and he's got this giant like eagle.
Oh, okay.
And it's just super duper fake puppet thing, and it just goes. It's just horrible.
Fucking
Well,
Eagly.
I would. You should have called him Eagly.
Eagly. I don't watch TV much. So
I don't know. Well, that's all we do.
Yeah.
I watch all the TV.
Yeah.
I watch enough for all three of us.
I'll
Why don't you
like,
watch TV?
Hulu
You got
or
something. You got
something.
shit going on?
No, I just don't have like regular cable. And if
Yeah.
I do watch TV, normally it's at night, and my wife is in control of the remote, which I don't really mind because I'm more of a gamer. Like I play games on like a tablet or something while she's doing that. But yeah, no, I don't know. When my kid's awake, Lesia, she's like a year and a half now.
Yeah.
We don't have the TV on really.
Yeah, that's good.
We don't want
Because
her
you're
to
like
just be
responsible
glued
parents.
to the thing
That's
all the
fucking
time.
weird.
So.
Unlike me, who just parks my kid in front of the TV. Like,
Right.
There you go.
Hey, no, I'm not judging anyone.
I'll be
that
back
does that.
later.
I just prefer them not to be stuck on the tablet or the phone or anything once they get older, And she's still, obviously, like, we will watch TV. We'll watch a cartoon or something every now and then on the weekends. But for the most part, we leave it off throughout the day.
Wow, you're so responsible.
Yeah,
Indeed.
Not quite.
So apparently that guy was tough.
Yeah.
I've seen he's got some pretty serious teammates and shit like that. I looked at his team and their credentials and everything. And he fights out of New Jersey or some shit.
Yeah, he's from New Jersey. Well, obviously Albania, but then moved to New Jersey and stuff. He had a very thick accent. Like when I met him and like I heard him talk, he was really weird. Like I didn't really notice it at first at the weigh-ins and stuff, but like if you look at the picture and stuff, like he like tried to like get in front of me on the like face off, and my dad was actually the one that mentioned it, and I was like, oh, I guess I didn't really notice that, but like he's like bowstrings. I don't know. To me, that's like a sign of like not being confident.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
I was like, oh, I didn't even notice, I guess, but
Yeah, if you got to like pump yourself up to.
Yeah.
And two, like I'm normally fairly like nice, like I'll smile at my opponent and things like that. And he's just like stone faced, like I don't know. It was kind of weird. I don't know. It's just
Trying to convince himself that he's a killer.
I guess I don't.
Yeah.
So some people out there probably don't know you. So Angel, you are a professional fighter.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing MMA?
Well, when I was when I first seen it, I was like 14. And
Okay.
from the moment seeing it, I wanted to do it.
Really?
And that was all my dad's fault. But
Did you grow up in a boxing household though?
not necessarily. My dad when he was younger would fight a lot. Like not box, but like
just
fight a lot. Yeah.
Okay. The reason I ask is because like the last couple. Was the last couple? Anyway, I've seen you fight a lot over 11 years or something like that.
Yeah.
You been fighting now? We were at your first fight.
When I was 19, I think probably.
And but your stand up like it doesn't like your stand up when you you don't look like an MMA fighter.
Yeah,
you look like a boxer.
Well, you have
like,
spent
it's
a
really
hell
good.
of a lot of time in the boxing gym, and like how you've even done how many
When I, like amateur boxing, I had over 50 fights.
Right.
Oh shit!
Which
there we go.
For like an Olympian or something, that's not very much. But just for like a local kind of thing, I guess that's quite a bit.
Right.
My record was like hit and miss. Honestly, I was never super consistent. My last 2 years, I was pretty consistent. I went to the nationals and stuff like that. But that was more of me lack of how do I put it? Well, I should have took it more serious.
Yeah.
Growing up and stuff.
You were young.
Yeah. I was just immature and stuff. Then I ended up meeting Coach Harold, which he moved he moved to Georgia and then he moved to Texas. But he was a big help in my boxing. Part of me regrets the way the end of my amateur career went because he had given me like the ultimatum, like, you got to quit doing MMA right now because the goal was to go to the Olympics.
Okay.
And because I broke my nose rolling with Tyler, doing jiu-jitsu, he was like, dude, you can't keep doing this stuff. And it's like, that was a freak accident, you know?
Right.
Like, that's not very common. So then I agreed and I quit MMA and jiu-jitsu and everything. I was a blue belt at the time, I believe. That was at the compound.
Okay.
And so I agreed to that, and I kind of just wish I would have kept doing both. But it's hard when he was in the gym every day with me, so it's like I can't sneak away and do jiu-jitsu. So
I didn't actually realize that. I mean, I guess I was around during that time period, but I didn't realize that you would. I just figured you were focusing on boxing, not necessarily like.
And I was for sure, because I was trying to fight as much as possible and things like that. Because like I said, I wanted to try to get to the Olympics, which that's a huge thing. And when I went to nationals and stuff, I did really well. I beat a guy from Texas, New Mexico. And then I think I lost to a guy from New Hampshire, and that was like a super duper close fight. So that was day 3 of the nationals. So it's if I would have won the tournament, it would have been 5 days in a row I would have fought. So I knew I was capable of winning like a national tournament and then going to like Olympic trials, but I just kind of ran out of time. And like I said, a big part of it was I should have took it more serious for a longer period of time. The years I did take it super serious, I obviously made it to like the highest level of it. So another thing with the amateur boxing is there's a lot of politics. Like there's a lot of fights where I felt I won, and I didn't win. So, and that might sound salty because I'm sure there's plenty of fighters that say that sort of thing. But I remember.
But anybody that knows you knows that that's really not your character. You're not that guy.
But I do remember the only boxing match Brock ever watched of me. He came to the finals of the Upper Midwest, and I fought a kid from Duluth. I believe his first name was Evan. I don't remember his last name. And he was a good fighter and stuff. But I fought him. I thought I clearly won, and I was like, hey, good fight, whatever. And then they announced him as the winner, and I was like, whatever. And Brock went up to one of the commissioners of boxing and was like, what did I miss? I thought Angel won that fight. And he looks at him, he says, Brock, it's sometimes who's in your corner, not what happens in the ring. And I'm just like, and that that sucks. So,
and I mean that happens in MMA as well. But it's so much more rare for it. I mean, if there's a really bad decision, I mean, it gets. And the way I look at it is like I at least for MMA, if I can finish someone, then I'll take that out of the equation. Like they won't be able to rob me. Right. But the issue is, in boxing, we're wearing headgear. We're wearing big gloves. Right. It's a lot harder to knock people out with those gloves, and just the padding and everything's so much different. Right. So, I don't know. I don't want to sit here and be salty about that, but it frustrates me for sure. That, like, to this day, I'll watch a fight where a guy's making somebody miss a bunch or blocking everything and then landing clean shots, and then the other guy wins. It's like, I can't stand that. Yeah.
Well, boxing's got problems, but I mean that does explain a lot because I mean, like your stand up and everything. Like even usually, like when you're watching an MMA fighter, even a guy that's got like pretty good stand up, it's still a world removed, from real boxing.
So, Coach Harold, how long ago was it when you started training with him?
I'm bad with dates and things like that. But before he left, I think I trained with him for 4 years total.
Okay. So that was kind of the last 4 years of your boxing.
Of boxing.
He is, what I guess you would say, like the quintessential boxing coach. Yeah, no, he's exactly what you expect your boxing coach to look 100%. Like, and to act like, Yeah,
he's very. He was a great guy. I love that guy. I still talk to him sometimes on the phone and stuff when he has time. But he was a retired military guy. He was I think they're called paratroopers. They jump out of planes and stuff. Yeah. And
dum-dums.
Yeah. And he boxed his whole life. His family grew up boxing and stuff like that. He's originally, I believe, from Davenport, Iowa. I'm trying to remember his old boxing coach's name. His father coached him, but something Alpena. Super famous guy though, in the boxing community and stuff. And he's a lot like Brock, where he could go on with stories, so many stories. Tends to kind of repeat himself a little bit, but he was up there in age.
He did get hit in the head for a living.
So he never went pro. He only was an amateur. He did a semi-pro thing, which was one of his favorite stories. He fought at one. I think most of his career was fought at 154 at the time was the weight class, and he ended up fighting Ray Mercer for his last fight ever. And he said he hit Ray Mercer a couple times. It did nothing to him.
I don't know who that is. I don't know anything about boxing.
He was an Olympian.
Okay.
And he was a heavyweight.
Super famous.
He's a world champion. Yeah.
Okay.
He's the guy that knocked out Tim Sylvia. The boxer that fought him in an MMA fight and knocked out Tim Sylvia. You don't remember?
About that? I kind of remember that.
One punch. That's what he took. So he hit him a couple times. He said, "Whoa, this guy, did nothing to him." So he blocked a punch, went down, didn't get back up. His dad pretty much told him, protect yourself. If this guy's gonna outmatch you and he's gonna hurt you, why take damage, kind of thing. So,
right.
That's a crazy story that he had told me, and he's obviously told me a couple times. But he was a smart guy, and in my opinion, I love Coach Harold.
A lot of guys will tell you stories where they look like a badass, but I love it when guys tell stories like that.
But back to the previous question, I started doing boxing stuff at 14. So after my dad walked into the room, because I was watching WWE. I used to love WWE, WWF at the time, I believe. But I was 14 watching it. My dad walks in the room. He's like, "Hey, when you're done watching that fake stuff, watch this. It's real fighting." So I'm like, "Okay, whatever." So I finished watching what I was watching, and then I put the DVD in, and I'm watching it, and these guys are on the ground. I'm like, what is this? What is this gay stuff? What the heck's going on? He's just in his legs. And
it was MMA?
Yeah, it was MMA. It was UFC. It was a UFC DVD, old DVD. And then I skipped a couple fights, and then it was Josh Thompson versus Eve Edwards.
Okay.
And Josh Thompson gets taken down, pretty much mat returned. Josh Thompson gets up, breaks hands, and does a spinning back fist. But at the same time, Eve Edwards jumps in the air and kicks him, knocks him out, and then TKOs him. I'm like, holy smoke, I got to do this. I don't know why. Something about that was oh, my God, I got to try this. Right after that, I watched that fight, watched the rest. I rewound it and went and watched the whole pay-per-view. And I'm like, I still didn't understand jiu-jitsu at the time, obviously.
Well, no, yeah. Obviously.
And so then I go up to my dad because I knew he knew how to box. He had been in boxing gyms before and stuff. But my grandfather also taught him how to fight.
Okay.
Growing up, and they always watched boxing and liked boxing and stuff like that. Most Mexican households are kind of that way. But so I went up to him. I was like, "Hey, can you teach me?" And he was like, "Okay." And that's how it all started. So he taught me from 14 on, and then I eventually went to the Golden Gloves in Wilmer. And I boxed there forever until I ended up going to St. Cloud and training up there.
So you were actually fighting it? How old were you when you started doing matches?
I did one match when I was 15 or 16, and then I didn't fight again until I was 17 or 18.
Okay.
Yeah, so it took a while, and then from there on, I just took as many as I could. Like I said, I'd fight out of shape. I'd I'd have fights where I'd like win the first round, yeah, great, and then I'd gas, and I'm like, oh shit. So that, like I said, lack of discipline back then.
Did you do any wrestling in school or anything?
I did wrestle. I did wrestle from my freshman year of high school to my junior year. My senior year, I ended up doing at-home schooling because I just hated school, and so I just finished school through online, pretty much schooling.
I did the same thing, except
except we didn't have that option when we were.
It's called dropping out.
We didn't have online. We just had mainline.
Yeah, that makes sense. But knowing I wanted to do MMA, I went and did wrestling, which once again I wish I would have took it more serious.
God, me too. Biggest regret, man.
Seriously. And I remember growing up, my dad would always get mad at me because, like, I'm half-assing all these things. And I just was like, oh, you're just being mean kind of thing. But nope, he was right, unfortunately. Yeah.
Well,
that's just being young, though, man.
So I'm not sure that I necessarily agree with that idea, though. I kind of like the idea of half-assing a lot of things. And because, like, who knows what one is going to, like, pique your interest in, which road you're going to end up going
and make you devote
down.
your whole ass to.
Yeah. Then you can whole ass it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like if I would have maybe took certain things more serious, I would have been a better wrestler much sooner.
God!
I mean, I always see kids like kids that are really intense and really focused on their particular sports and stuff, and I'm like, that's the difference. That's always the fucking difference.
Whenever
those guys,
I'm in jits and I'm working with somebody who like has a good wrestling background, I just drip with envy. Like anybody who can like has that magical level change, and I'm just like, fuck you and your ability to change levels, because like it's almost impossible to learn it.
Probably my most natural sport, but didn't give a fuck, didn't care, didn't fucking no.
But it's the
I have
same.
To get my haircut. What are you talking about?
It's the same thing as like in boxing, learning how to like sit on a punch and whatever. That's something that like if you don't develop early is very hard to develop late unless you're like super gifted. I mean, I think the only exception to that wrestling rule is George St. Pierre, who never wrestled a day in his life,
but he's a great athlete.
So he starts training with the Canadian Olympic wrestling team, and he's like,
there's an opportunity most people don't
really
get.
should really wrestle.
No, I normally don't notice it too much until I'm like going with guys like Tyler Matheson, or Tanner, like college level guys that are
that can just
good
go. They can go from here to it's like, oh, you dick.
Yeah, because normally if I can stop the initial shot, I'm okay. But then, like I said, those college level guys, they just keep wrestling. Like, you could stop them, but it's like they just keep going until they get you down. And it's like, you fucker.
Yeah, it's good.
But like I said, so from there, wrestling and then boxing. I continued with boxing. Obviously, I didn't continue with wrestling after high school. But Marvin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Marvin Halland. So I would train with him because he also liked MMA a lot, so we'd train in my garage through high school pretty much.
So you were already like learning, like jiu-jitsu moves kind of stuff back then?
Not necessarily. Like I would watch. We were those guys that were like in the living room, like, oh, is that how you do that?
A lot of people start that way. A lot of people started that way, though. Yeah. I mean, it's not, it's not ridiculous. I mean, fucking Brock started that way.
Yeah,
kind of.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. But my dad also, like, my parents are very supportive. Also, I can't even explain how awesome they are in that sense. But my dad, once I told him like I wanted to do this stuff, he found like a jiu-jitsu gym, but it's more like Japanese jiu-jitsu kind of style. So we started doing that. Me and my sisters.
Where was that at?
That was in Wilmer.
In Wilmer, okay.
And I'm trying to remember. I think his name was Chad Riddler. Was the instructor.
I was thinking of the one in God damn it, where Jessica's gym is.
Alexandria.
Alexandria, yeah. There was a traditional Japanese jiu-jitsu gym there. That we used to kind of train with every once in a while. They're fun. And actually that's when I first started doing jiu-jitsu. It was after UFC 2.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, a while ago.
I'm an old man. Yeah. But you know Fred Eddish, right?
Yeah. I met him.
I used to do Kempo, karate back then. And
isn't that what Chuck Liddell did?
Kinda, yeah. Like, he had Kempo. He had like a Kempo tattoo.
Was Fred the judo guy?
No, Fred Edish was a Kempo guy. And we, so in my gym, we do Kempo, which is very traditional. I mean, I wouldn't say, it's not Taekwondo, but it's traditional style karate. Okay. Okinawan style karate. With weapons and other shit. Oh, wow. And Fred Edish was like this black belt in another Kempo system, but very closely related. And like we found out that he was going to be fighting in this weird like this so ultimate fighting thing. And me and my buddy Eric were just like, fuck yeah, man, he's going to go out there and he's going to be like, wham, and fucking drop the guy, and he gets destroyed. Right?
I can't remember what he fought, but I
don't remember either. I don't think he ever went on. That guy ever went on. But he ends up just getting his ass kicked, and we were like, what the fuck? That didn't go well. And then, we watched, Royce Gracie, win the whole thing. Tie somebody up in a knot, and Eric was like, dude, we got to figure out what that shit is. Yeah. So we find out it's jiu-jitsu, so we end up, there's no jiu-jitsu school, so we end up getting a book, The Art of Jiu-Jitsu, and it's perfect. Pictures and with, explanations and all these Japanese names and everything. And we were like, well, fucking good enough. So we had a couple of mats. Our gym, which was called Iron Pine Karate, was super cool gym. And actually, Jared Fearbin was a black belt in that gym. Not the instructor, but he was another black belt. Anyway, but it was a cool gym. You just got a key to it. Like you were
like at any time or something.
Yeah, it's kind of. So you had classes, but everybody who was like, a ranked member just had a key to the gym, and you go work out anytime you wanted. So we had some mats, just a couple of little, like high school mats, and we would beat the shit out of each other with those Jeet Kune Do gloves, that lace up to here, whatever, and just full on, no mouth guard, no groin cup, fucking whatever, beat the shit out of each other. So that was my introduction to jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
That sounds fun.
He's dead now. I didn't kill him. I did break his foot in half though. So we have no idea what we're doing, but I knew how to do an armbar. I knew how to basically do a rear naked choke, but it wasn't great. I mean, I just had to keep squeezing, and eventually they would tap or go to sleep, but it took 10 minutes. And I knew 7 footlocks. Okay. Because the book was all full of footlocks, knee bars, but I knew how to do a top toe hold. So we're fighting one day, and I fucking have him in a top toe hold, and I mean, it's good. For those of you at home don't know, top toe hold, you put the toe in the butthole. It's easy. So I got this fucking thing, and I'm just yanking on it, and I'm like, Eric, you got to tap, I got you. And he's like, no, I'm good. And all of a sudden, I break his foot bad. 3 of the whatever they are called, metatarsals, whatever they are, petatarsals, sure. Bad. And he's screaming. I fucking bring him to the hospital. So I was like, yeah, that one worked.
Yeah. That sounds terrible.
It was pretty awesome, actually. I was 23 back then, just thought I was tough.
The first MMA gym I ever went to, so I did all this training and stuff with Marvin and my uncle and my dad and stuff. That's another thing. My uncle Gilbert, it was his birthday yesterday, but he also helped me a lot. He paid for pretty much my first 8 months of training at an MMA gym out in Wilmer, and that's the one that Corey Soini had opened. And
okay.
That's how I met Corey.
No shit.
Yeah, that's how I met Corey. But my uncle would also, because my father obviously worked full-time and stuff like that, and so whatever he wouldn't do with me, my uncle would do with me, so he'd hold mitts for me and things like that. So he was a big part of my evolution of improving as a boxer as well. Mainly though, just boxing. He's a little taller than you, but he's a big guy. He's a big. He was a good wrestler. He was a really good football player, actually. But when he was 19, I believe, they ended up finding a tumor in his jaw and stuff, and he had a bunch of surgeries in Rochester, and that kind of took away his athletic pursuits, pretty much. But he was a good athlete, and he still is a good athlete. He just doesn't got a shin bone because they took the bone from a shin and put it in his jaw.
Damn.
Yeah. No Muay Thai for him.
Yeah. But so he'd help me like wrestle as much as he could, but size difference was just insane. So it's like, I'm not gonna shoot on this big guy, and he'd flatten me whenever we'd grapple or anything. But so he brought me to Corey's gym, and you're mentioning the footlock thing. I remember, I feel terrible. It was like the YMCA like karate instructor in Wilmer went and did jiu-jitsu with us. And I didn't know how heel hooks and stuff work, but I knew like how to grab it.
Yeah, you basically had the general, the concept.
So I grabbed a heel hook on this guy, and I'm pulling it as hard as I can, trying to rip his foot off. And as you know, like heel hooks, it doesn't hurt until it snaps your freaking ACL, right?
Yeah.
And I was turning, pop. And once it popped, I looked at him like, oh my God, like what the and he taps or whatever, obviously after he gets hurt or whatever. And the next day I'm talking to him because he shows up to practice. I'm like, hey, how are you feeling? Like, are you okay? This and that. He's like, I can't run. Like, it feels like super duper loose. I don't have like I can't go laterally and stuff. Like, so I'm like, oh no, that's not good. Couple weeks later, blown ACL, and I blew this guy's ACL. I just felt terrible, and it's like I didn't know, like
the FNG,
yeah,
fucking new guy.
And that's the thing, like, yeah,
and there was no rule though, like
right,
like we didn't have like don't do this move, don't do this move. We're all white belts,
right?
And
there's nothing more dangerous than a white belt grabbing a foot.
Yeah, like if I like, I felt terrible. But
I didn't really feel that bad when I broke my buddy's foot in half. No? Actually, no, that fucker like should have tapped. But I mean, it wasn't like he wouldn't have broke my foot in half.
Yeah,
like we were trying to figure shit out.
I guess.
But he was fine. He came back.
I'm sure if that gym would have stayed open, I'm sure he would have came back too. But yeah, it was just.
Have you talked to? What's Corey up to now? I haven't seen him in years.
Last time I talked to him, I gave him some equipment. So I don't know.
I haven't talked to him in a long
time.
Some
ice cream shop or something.
Yeah, I think they live out in like Cold Spring now, though. I'm pretty sure because I ran into Amy at that. What was it, like a country musical place? It was me, Brock, Sam, and Jessica all went to. But we ran into her, and she said they lived out there now. So I hope they're doing good.
I always liked that guy.
Yeah.
So how did you ever end up in working with Brock? How did that come about?
So from Corey Soiney's gym, I met Shannon Scott, which for the longest time was my first MMA coach. And that was Damage Inc. Damage Inc.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know the Damage Inc.
And
yeah.
Damage Inc., I guess, Brock used to go to the downtown wrestling... No. Was it Downtown Wrestling Club? I can't remember if it was that one or if it was the Golden Gloves by the train tracks in St. Cloud.
Okay.
Either way, Brock used to train with them every now and then. And so I met Shannon through him. Once, it was a really weird situation with that gym, how it closed.
Damage Inc. was a weird play. Yeah, that was. They had a bunch of good guys though.
No, not the original Damage Inc., but the Damage Inc. that Corey owned in Wilmer. It was kind of like a weird.
Oh, okay.
He said, she said thing, so I'm not even gonna get into all that stuff. But so that closed. And I think Corey ended up meeting Brock somehow and going and training with him. But me being me, I liked Shannon, and I like pretty much held a loyalty to him. But also, he was willing to train me for free as long as I drove to him. And I think he was living in Cold Spring at the time. Was it Cold? Where's the truck stop with all the big donuts and stuff?
Oh,
Kyle knows.
Let me take this one. That's
he has all the donut places.
God damn it.
It's Clearwater, right?
Yeah, Clearwater. You go a
a
little further down the road to Kimball. Yeah, Clearwater.
Yep. So Shannon lived in Clearwater. Me and my uncle and whoever else from Wilmer would go to his house because he had some mats at his house, so we'd just train there. And I'm trying to think how many amateur fights I had with him before.
MMA fights?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know.
Amateur MMA fights with him before. So the first time you watched me fight Timmy Ogundapeg, he was my first coach at the time.
Oh, okay.
And
wait. Who was?
Shannon. Shannon was my only MMA coach.
Yeah. Remember when we were at the River Center, like 11 years ago or whatever. He fought Timmy.
Yeah.
A gun to pay. Okay, yes, I remember that. Yes, okay. Yeah. Timmy, a gun to pay me later.
Yeah. Timmy. So yeah, I was with Shannon for the longest time, and then I ended up going to
Did you beat Timmy?
No.
Okay.
I lost a split decision.
Okay.
But I did detach his retina.
Oh, that's right, you jerk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And at the time, I didn't care. But now that I know Timmy, I feel terrible.
I'm not going to lie. I thought you won that fight.
I
was rooting for Timmy, too, because he was my boy. And, But, I thought you won that fight.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I just remembered the crowd.
It wasn't like
so much.
Detaching somebody's retina is not like you,
I punched him so much.
You punched him. Yeah. That's your job in that case. So it's like...
Yeah. Well, still, I like him.
I like him too.
But he lost.
He was mean. He was mean. He punched him. About that.
No, but I remember vividly.
It did suck though. Having it. I remember him having that detached retina. I mean, I don't think it ever goes back. I mean,
I think he had surgery, and that's part of the thing. He had surgery for it to fix it, but I don't think he listened to the doctors and went back to training too soon. So I think that's. From what I remember, because at that point I was training with him.
Yeah, so we were at Performance Compound when it was still over in Waite Park. Yeah,
when Dave had the building. But back to that other. I keep going off on different things.
But spitballing, that's what we do.
Yeah, but then I went to a submission tournament, the same one I beat Dave Owens in for the gold medal. And Dave, I believe, was the owner, right?
Dave Owens, yeah.
Yeah. So, and he ended up being my boss in the future at IRT.
Oh,
and
no
stuff
kidding.
Like that, yeah. But so I ended up beating Dave in the finals of the open weight for white belt or whatever, and I went up to Brock because I never rolled with a black belt before at that point in my life.
Okay.
The highest belt I had rolled with was Andy. Because he would go to the downtown wrestling and boxing club.
Oh.
Andy Bensfield, Golden Boy.
Golden Boy.
And Andy used fuck me up easy.
Andy's
killed
a
me.
Beast.
Yeah.
That was even before he had his back surgery and everything too.
Yep. He was younger then and strong, and I felt like a child when I rolled with him. It pissed me off so bad. And I always...
So he's a guy who's Andy Bensfield is Golden Boy. He's been training forever. He's a black belt with Brock. But he was a really good wrestler growing up, and he's one of those guys that always pisses me off.
He's a Painesville.
No, he's guy. Part of the. He worked for the commission though.
Andy, no. He has 2 kids that are badasses.
Really good wrestlers. If you ever on Facebook, and you're friends with him, all you're gonna see is he's not gonna show you pictures of his kids going to their first day of fucking school, but he's gonna show them holding fucking wrestling trophies. His little girl is a badass.
Yeah, she's a beast. But yeah, I used to roll with Andy, and I don't know if he was a blue belt at the time or what, but he used to beat the hell out of me. And I was just like, I've never rolled with a black belt. So I went up to Brock at the tournament. I was like, hey, can I roll with you? And Brock, being the nice guy he is, I'm assuming he didn't want to embarrass me, but I don't know. He's like, well, I got a couple matches still today, so I don't want to get tired. How about you come to my gym, and I'll roll with you?
Oh. And that was diplomatic.
Yeah, absolutely. Very nice. It really was. I'm kind of proud of him for that.
He didn't know me. I think I had fought for his promotion twice at that point. I fought Timmy, and then I fought a native kid out in Brainerd at the Armory or something.
Okay, I had to have been there, but yeah.
Definitely.
I wish I had that footage still. Fuck.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, cool. I guess I'll go to his gym on Monday. And that was the first thing I said was, well, I don't have money. Because I didn't have money. I worked at UPS at the time, and I worked 4 hours, and then I'll use my money to drive to St. Cloud to train with Shannon. And he was like, "Don't worry about it. Just
where were you living?"
I was living with my parents still.
I mean, what in where?
In Wilmer.
In Wilmer, okay.
Yeah, in Wilmer.
That's where your family's from.
Yep.
Okay.
Well,
we'll talk about family inside, but yeah.
So then I was like, okay, cool. I go to the gym. It's the winter time, so I go to that big warehouse that you guys were at. That was an awesome gym, by the way. Big cage set up, a bunch of mat space, like turf almost.
Yeah,
it was sweet.
It was like a giant Well, that was what you think of as a giant.
Yeah, it was a performance compound.
It was a giant warehouse.
It had a garage and stuff, so they'd open it during the summer. But so I show up, and I'm looking in the window because I'm waiting. Like, I don't know if anybody's in there. And then I see Tony Martin looking out the window, flicking me off. And I'm like, oh, shit. This is that dude.
No, that does not sound like Tony Martin.
Yeah. I was like, oh, shit. This is that dude that... I got to backtrack a tiny bit just because this is pretty relevant. There was like a huge thing on Facebook, and I don't know if you remember this, but Scott Kelm had said something on Facebook saying, oh, we're the best gym in Minnesota or in St. Cloud area or something like that. And then Corey Soini comments on it. And then Tony Martin,
I do remember
Josh
that.
Holtz, everybody jumps on the comments and starts going crazy. But Tony, most of all, goes crazy the most. F you guys. Brock Larson's the best coach in the world. Get Some's the best team in the world. I don't give a F what you think.
Oh, you're right. It wasn't the performance compound. It was Get Some back
then. Yeah, it was
then.
Get Some.
Okay.
And
we changed names a lot.
I remember Brock jumping on the post and saying, Tony Martin, if you ever want your purple belt, stop. You guys just stop. So then they stopped, obviously. And I remember it.
At that time I was probably riding to St. Cloud with Brock a couple times a week. Mm-hmm. So more than likely, like, I was reading him those posts in the car. Like, I'm like, oh my God, Tony, I have a brief memory. But I mean, like,
and then he probably had you write that too. Otherwise it would have said, Stirp, if you ever want your blah, 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 blah belt.
People used to say, like, I always know when you're typing for Brock because it has punctuation.
Just playing with you, big guy.
Oh, no, but that's my wife too.
But I would like I would like literally, I was like his personal secretary. I would be like reading him the Facebook posts. For him. But anyway,
so that happened, and I remember I was at the gym, and Shannon comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, did you see all that stuff on Facebook?" And we didn't like comment on it at all. I was like, "Yeah, I seen all that. What the heck's up with that?" And he's like, "I don't know, but do you want to fight Tony?" And I was like, "Oh, at what weight?" And he's like, "Oh, 55 or something like that." Which is now realizing like Tony would never have made 55. And
he did make 55.
Oh,
though.
did he?
Yeah.
Did he? I didn't realize that.
No, yeah, he fought 55.
Did he make 55 or did he get butt lifted 55?
Hey, now
he had a bunch. He had multiple fights at 55, didn't he?
Tony, hell no.
Yes,
he's so big.
in the early
There's no way.
when he was in the UFC. Yes.
Oh, like, you're right. Actually,
and then he couldn't fucking win a fight at 55.
Yeah, it was killing him.
It was killing him, and then he went to 70. He went to 70.
See,
and then he went on the run.
Yeah, because you look at Tony at 170 and shit. And he's like sculpted. You know, like it's burnt. Like that's his weight.
Yeah,
actually, that's a good point. I do remember now he did fight at 55.
And I remember 55. Like, and my memory is not that good, but I do remember discussions of him going at 55 beforehand. And Brock was like, "No, that's fucking stupid. We're not going for 55 unless it's for the big show." But yeah,
makes sense. So Shannon's like, "Oh, you want to fight him?" And I was like, "Sure, let's do it." And he's like, "Okay, cool. You gotta go pro." I'm like, "Oh, whoa, no, I'm not gonna go pro. This is like right after I lost my amateur debut. What are you talking about?" He's like, "Well, he's a professional, so you have to go pro." I'm like, "Oh no. Well, wait, why don't you fight him? You're 55er." And he's like, "No, I fight at 45." And that was kind of the end of the conversation. And I was just kind of like, what? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not going to go pro just to fight this guy just because he talks shit on Facebook. Like, that makes no sense.
Right. That's what in the world of career moves, that sounds
smart.
Like
that's not very smart. But so then I'm thinking, oh man, this guy must know it's me, and he's flicking me off from the gym. I'm like, okay, whatever. Well, I go into the gym, and he's like, oh shit, I'm so sorry. I thought you were who was it? Hernandez.
Jesse Hernandez.
He's like, oh, I thought you were Jesse Hernandez. I was like, I have no idea who that is, but okay. And then I see Jesse Hernandez come in, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes a little bit of sense.
He's the other brown
Mexican
guy.
dude,
just a little, yeah. Like that's it, because
okay.
Jesse's like a half a foot taller than you and shit.
Yeah. So I end up going in, obviously grappling with Brock, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, like, why did he even say he'd get tired? Like, he just killed me pretty much. But I got to roll with Brock. I got to roll with everybody pretty much in the gym. And like coming up and like anything pretty much. Like when Andy was at the gym at the downtown gym, I would always try to get as many rounds with them. Same thing with there. Like anybody that was a higher belt, I try to go with. Adam McDonough, Tony, Brock, whoever else. JB.
Man, that's a good bunch.
So McDonough was he training at Damage Inc. then, or was he training with Brock? He was still training at Damage Inc. then?
No. McDonough didn't at that point. Damage Inc. was already done. It kind of resurged.
Oh, okay. Right. So that was
because I was fighting with Shannon and I picked up the Damage Inc. name.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Because like Damage Inc. like produced a lot of really great. It's kind of like the Fight Mafia in Brainerd, right? Like
Mafia.
The Mafia, because there was like like there were some problems with it, but my God, so many great guys
good
came
fighters,
out of the Mafia,
good dudes,
and that are still training.
And my favorite thing about
later.
those guys was always like, fuck, so-and-so's opponent backed out. We need an opponent.
Yeah.
Call fucking Favia.
Yeah.
They've got somebody. Somebody wants to fight you. Like, those guys were always down. Like, they would always fucking step up and fight. Yep. I mean, even if it was like, short notice, am I going to get my ass kicked? Don't care. I'll fight.
Yep.
Fucking, that was cool, man.
But yeah, so like, you, McDonough, who else came out damaging?
I'm not really sure about all the guys that fought, like came through it.
But Nate Scott, he started.
Oh, no shit.
I think so. He didn't?
I didn't know that. I have no idea. Maybe.
Yeah, shit, I don't remember.
He just got like second at Worlds.
I saw it.
Scott?
Yeah.
I think he's selling fucking real estate.
Dude, he is. And he is fucking doing jiu-jitsu too.
Yeah, I think he just at Purple Belt. At Masters. Yeah.
Where's he training?
With us. If it's the
I haven't seen Nate
Nate, I believe so, yes. He's once he's on top of you.
No, Nate is probably the most gifted, like natural, one of the most gifted natural athletes I've ever known.
He's a wrestler,
and
correct?
Yeah,
and he has
a really
son.
good wrestler. Yeah, he's got a son.
That wrestles also.
Probably.
Because I'm pretty sure he's had.
I haven't really trained with Nate in about 10 years. But
the
Nate
only time
was
I see him is at noon classes at Start.
Well, God, if he's back in it, that's great.
Yeah. No, he's a savage.
He was kind of on the precipice of going, really.
Yep, that's Nate.
Huh. Well, good for him. Last time I saw him, he was really chubby and selling real estate.
Yeah, he isn't too chubby, no. I wouldn't call him chubby, at least.
Nate was a guy.
He won Worlds. Or he
got
second at Worlds.
I'll be goddamn. Oh, good for Nate. Yeah, that's him.
He's a beast.
He's, like Brock has said, too, he's one of the most natural athletes he's ever worked with and just incredibly fucking lazy.
Really?
Right? Oh, yeah. He's a guy who could, if he ever, really dedicated himself to it, he could have gone all the way. But he's like, I'm good. Like him good. He'll work hard. He's and then he'll be like, I'm good.
What was it, the missile?
But when you do, yes. But if he's on top of you, it's impossible.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. It sucks.
So you go and you train at
at
Get Some.
I remember, so anytime I make life decisions, I normally talk to my dad just to kind of get what he thinks and stuff like that. So I remember calling my dad.
You're a good son.
On the way.
I love to hear that shit.
On the way home, and I'm like, hey, because he worked nights at the time, and he worked nights for like 8 years. But I called him, talked to him on his break or whatever, and I'm like, hey, I feel torn. Like, part of me wants to stick with Shannon, but at the same time, I know I need to be at this gym.
So when you went over there and you rolled with all those guys, you were impressed with how good they were?
Yeah, they're all really good. And Dylan McFarland too, where he was my age group, my size and stuff, and it's just crazy. What the hell?
That kid.
Yeah, he's a cool kid. But so I hit him up and I'm like, hey, I feel like though, if I don't figure out a way to train with these guys, I'm not gonna move on to where I need to go, you know. And my dad pretty much said hey, if that's really how you feel and that's that big of a difference, you need to just tell Shannon you're gonna train with him, and if he cares about you, he'll trust that that's what you need to do to get better, and it won't be that big of a deal. So then I told Shannon pretty much, and he's like, well, pretty much oh, you're gonna be paying them, but you don't pay me. And it's yeah, but it's just
right. That's a tough conversation.
Yeah, and I would fight and sell tickets, and I'd pretty much give him all the money from that, but it couldn't have been much, maybe a couple $100 every time I fought, because I would get 40, 50 people to come watch me, but still not that much money. And I'm like, yeah, I just feel like I need to be here, kind of thing. And he's like, okay, like he was fine with it. I ended up fighting, actually, a fight where I fought an undefeated guy, and I was kind of on a little skid. I had just fought Sean Richmond, Mike Richmond's little brother, for like a title limiter fight, and I ended up losing that fight. And then I fought another guy that it was supposed to be at 135. And I was a retard back then. I thought, oh, it's only 10 pounds. It's not going to be that big of a difference in the weight cut and stuff. I got to like 140 and could not sweat anymore in the sauna, and I was dying, and I ended up missing weight, gassing like 30 seconds into the fight. I lost the decision there.
And that was after you were with Brock?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
or maybe I wasn't with Brock yet, because I know the Sean Richmond fight I wasn't with Brock, and I don't remember if the Adric Kennedy fight was or wasn't with him. But so then,
because that would be rare for Brock, for you.
No,
like Brock's so good at that part of it.
Yeah,
at getting people at the weight.
I was gonna say,
not to say that people have never missed weight from Brock's camp, but it's like.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard he won't let you miss weight, pretty much. If he's there, he won't let you miss weight.
Do you remember when who was it? Who ate cheesecake?
Bobby Lee.
Oh yeah, Bobby Lee. Yeah, and Brock made like an announcement at the gym and said that from this point forward, you will only refer to Bobby Lee as cheesecake. And that lasted like a month, but he was
I'm sure he was livid.
He was livid.
But no, I'm pretty sure that this so I ended up fighting a guy named Matt Tarek, which was, I guess, a college wrestler. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that was the first fight I had with Brock. Not Brock in my corner, but training at Get Some as well as training at the Downtown Wrestling Boxing Club with Shannon. So it was Adam McDonough cornering me.
Okay.
And Shannon Scott. And I don't know where Brock was. I think maybe he was cornering someone else. I'm assuming, because if he isn't cornering someone else, he's probably
cornering somebody else.
Yeah. Like if he's not cornering me, he's cornering someone else. That's just the kind of guy he is. But so it went real well. By the way, Adam McDonough is a great corner.
I was gonna say McDonough's a good corner,
he's
right?
a great corner man. So is Tony.
Tony is wonderful.
Fucking Matt told me that.
Yeah,
great corner.
Yeah, he is
awesome.
Yeah, when I did my fight, like, I mean, it was almost. I mean, I took it really seriously. I trained really hard for it, but it was almost a joke. I mean, I was 40 some years old.
What's his name?
Yeah,
but he was old too, wasn't he?
He was, but god damn it, man.
He was athletic.
Did you see that fucking thing?
Yeah, he was athletic.
He took his shirt off. I was like, if I get my ass kicked by you, it'll be like okay, but if you get your ass kicked by me, fucking it. Yeah, Kelly Johnson.
Yeah, Kelly.
And he was a really good wrestler too. But anyway, no excuses. But the point is it was a one and done. It was my debut retirement fight, and Tony took me so seriously, treated me so professionally, and like it was like an honor. I was like, it was a true honor to have him in my corner. And Brock was fighting that night for his, so he was in the corner too. But I mean, Brock was focused on what he had to get done.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was great.
Yeah, no.
But Adam McDonough is, I mean, I've never been cornered by him. Well, I've only been cornered by Tony and Brock, but the one time. Mm-hmm. But I've been at hundreds of fights where he's cornered people.
Yeah,
and, he's great.
Yeah, no, real smart guy. But all those guys, Brock too. He's, I couldn't imagine being in an important fight or a fight in general without him in my corner nowadays. So yeah, and that went well. And I think I had maybe one or two more fights with Shannon in my corner, and then we kind of just like stopped talking, just out of the blue. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that's the way it is.
Yeah,
it's
hard.
But your dad gave you great advice. I mean, and that's like the decision that like all fighters gotta, do I move on and advance in my career and shit? Do I get better? Do I stay?
Yeah. No, I obviously made the right choice in my opinion. From where I am now to then, but that's how I ended up getting with Brock, and I've been with him for like 10 years now. So
I mean,
white belt when I met him, no stripes or anything. I didn't even have a gi when I met him, and now I'm a brown belt.
And you didn't really embrace like gi right away. when you were so that's really changed over the last like few years for different. Everybody now.
So much
like,
different.
But back when we had Get Some, and Brock was fighting too, so that made a big difference because Brock, like a lot of people don't realize, Brock had a gym. He never made any fucking money teaching anybody. He had a gym because he needed training partners to get him to get ready for fights because he was a professional fighter. That's what he was really doing. So it was like. Brock was always focused on his gi jiu-jitsu, but fuck, you come to class, half the people wouldn't. I mean, shit, Jay Gould. I mean, like he would never put a goddamn gi on.
Yeah, there's a lot of people like that.
Yeah. Tyler Matheson.
Me, Marvin, for the longest time too. I think the only reason I ended up buying a gi is because like the TKO sports people came. Who was that? Jeff something. He came to the gym and just had like a bunch of boxes of like gear.
Oh.
And it was like a $75 gi. It was a blue one. And Marvin was there and he got a red one.
Okay.
And the only reason I got it is because my dad, some reason, was there that day. He's like, hey, you want a gi? Oh, sure, why not? So that's how I ended up getting a gi. And then from there I started doing it. But yeah, I'm pretty sure if I did the math correct, I was a white belt for like 6 years.
And that was part of why, like, because you don't get ranked in no-gi. It doesn't happen.
Also, like, back then, Brock didn't, like, it took quite a bit to get even a stripe.
It did.
It took a while.
I mean, and it still does. I mean, Brock has never, like, nobody ever gets there are no paper belts in in
I
Brock's
agree.
gym.
I agree. But, 10 years with them is crazy to even think of that, actually. So yeah
that's awesome. So then let's see, where did it go from there? So that was that Performance Compound, and we moved over to
what about that
was
particular fight?
Which one?
That fight where the first time McDonough cornered you.
I ended up winning that fight actually against. He was 4-0, I believe, and I think I was like, I want to say like 3-3 probably, because I had just lost my last 2 fights in a row. But and those were tough dudes. Like Sean Richmond ended up going undefeated as an amateur, went pro. I think he ended his professional career at like 4-1. I don't know why he retired. Maybe family stuff. I'm not sure. But he ended up retiring. But he was a good fighter. The other guy that beat me after him ended up actually retiring right after my fight. He had like a serious shoulder injury or something, like labrum or something, and then he just quit. But he was a good fighter. He was from the like Pure Vita gym or something like that.
Okay.
And that was back before they were like well known, I'm assuming. But the wrestler dude, I ended up stopping his takedowns first round. Second round, Adam's like, dude, you just gotta throw punches. He's done pretty much. Like, he's demoralized. He couldn't hold you down. And he couldn't take you down. I'm like, okay, so go out. Probably like 30 seconds in, I ended up knocking him out. So it went well. And then
it went well.
Yeah. And then from there on, I kept fighting. I think my amateur career, I ended it with. I think it was 8 wins and 4 losses.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
God damn, you had a lot of fights.
Yeah, I had 12, and then like 1 wasn't on my record because I think it was on a res.
Yeah.
And I won that fight by TKO in the first round, I believe. I hit him with like a hook to the body, like a kidney shot, crumbled him. And it was kind of cool because we could throw knees and elbows as amateurs on the res.
Yeah, on the res.
And... I hit the guy from like a pummel position. I hit him with an elbow. Oh my goodness, I felt terrible. Like not terrible, but it's just like, jeez. As an amateur, like it's a great idea when you're like, oh, I get to elbow a guy, but then you get elbowed. You're like, oh shit, I'm getting elbowed. Okay, I'm not getting paid for this. That's cool. But it is. I mean, I didn't really get hurt or anything in that fight, so it went well for me. But yeah.
And then when did you decide to go pro? And why?
So like I said, when we were at the compound.
So you didn't go pro to fight Tony Martin on your second fight. That was a good choice,
right?
No, that would have been terrible. Jesus, I would have hated myself for that. God, that would have went so bad. just because I had I don't know how good Tony was. He's a great
Tony
athlete.
was good.
He was a great athlete.
But dude, I'm just saying,
Tony started really
Tony
good.
walks in the gym good.
It's hard for me to admit that somebody would beat me up on my feet, even if it's Tony. It's hard for me to admit.
I mean, I don't know if he would have beat you up on his feet.
But I know he would, for sure, the second that fight would have hit the ground, it would have been terrible.
Yeah.
Would have been terrible. But at least for me.
And I don't even know. I mean, Tony developed really. I mean, he's got really good striking.
Oh, now it's
but
terrible.
Even in the beginning, he didn't have great striking.
But he was a great athlete, and he
punched
so
hard.
He punched. Yeah, he
was
tried to
knocking
kill
people out and shit.
I think his
breaking orbital sockets. And shit.
I think his first amateur fight. Yeah, that's what happened. He broke the guy's face. He
that was gross.
He broke his hand with it.
He did break his hand. He does have fragile hands.
He got little hands, just like me. I got little hands.
Do you have little hands too?
Yeah, I got
really. That's
little
interesting.
Yeah.
Pounds per square inch. Apparently, that's a real thing.
What?
I don't know, because I've always hated getting hit by guys with big old mitts. But I have been told that because of the how just as far as distributing the force goes, the smaller fist.
Oh, point of impact.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's overall more powerful.
I don't know though, because I've sparred with Brock, and that shit hurts.
Those are not small hands.
Yeah, those are huge, and that shit hurts. It's like
just nobody wants to fucking get hit by some big old club of a fucking meat.
Brock doesn't make any sense as a human anyway. He's got really short.
Is he
arms.
human? Is he?
Well, he's got really short arms and really short legs and a really long torso.
Yeah.
So he shouldn't be able to generate any power with his punches, and he punches like a freight train. He stands wrong, because he stands like he's southpaw, but he's totally right hand dominant.
Yeah.
So his good strikes are his lead strikes. It's just a bizarre thing. Yeah.
He's actually even to this day. So that Strong Eagle Wilson or whatever, he's a southpaw. So I ended up sparring with Brock a couple times before my last fight. Just because we don't really have any southpaws in the gym right now.
Yeah, we don't.
It was Brock and then Lupe, Tony's brother-in-law. Do you know Lupe?
I don't think so. Huh?
Okay. Well, he started jiu-jitsu, and he's a 2-stripe white belt maybe.
Okay.
But anyway, and he boxed.
Okay.
So I knew him from
good.
the downtown wrestling boxing club. So he would come in and spar with me. But those are the only two real southpaws. Joey would go southpaw.
And Brock's not a real southpaw.
Well, he isn't, but he fought his whole career.
He stands as a southpaw.
Yeah. But
it's such a deceptive because his it's just a deceptive southpaw.
No.
Yeah.
So I sparred with him, and I'm looking and he's done. He's done fighting.
Yeah.
He doesn't train anymore or anything. I'm sparring with him, and I'm just thinking to myself while sparring with him, why the hell are you still so hard to hit? He just understands distance so well. It's so freaking annoying. And I'm okay, he's right here. I punch, miss. Okay,
and I mean,
strange.
and you have you have spent countless more hours standing in front of somebody trying to punch them than he has, and
it's just.
So I've said this several hundred times on the show, but it's my favorite analogy for people like Brock is that it's in the movie 300 where Leonidas is, walk along and the guy's like, hey,
what is your profession?
I brought a bunch of warriors too. He's like, what do you do? I'm a potter. It's that's the thing is Brock's been a professional warrior for most of his life. And when you just dedicate yourself to doing that for that long, you do. You just he has a innate understanding of the human body and how it works. And he can't explain it.
and that's
without it being an actual understanding.
Only innate,
just a feel for it,
And that's the crazy thing. If you don't spar, and it's been a while since you've sparred or anything, it's weird.
It's supposed to be, what do they call that?
It's you're flinchy and stuff no. You just
what's it called? Shootings like that too. What do they call that? Rapid. It's a skill that has to be done all the time to maintain it.
I'm not sure.
We read about that. In fucking,
I don't know how much I believe that. By the way, I mean, well, I don't know. I think it just depends. I don't know. I can shoot.
I will.
I feel like I shot so much when I was a young kid.
Oh, okay.
Shooting guns that I can pick up a gun and I can shoot it. I have that dialed in. But
I can say for sparring, if you don't spar for a while, and then you go spar, you are more flinchy. That's for sure. That's a real thing.
I was thinking about that the other day.
What's it called? Rapidly degenerating skill. Fuck, I don't know. I'm not looking.
You had that little road rage incident a couple of days ago that I wrote about on Facebook, and I'm like, how long has it been since you've been in a fist fight, Kyle? Because it's been a long fucking time since you've been in a boxing gym. Like fucking.
That's a different thing.
Would you get your ass kicked?
Yeah. That's a completely different thing between a fist fight and a sparring match.
Yeah,
because
I think.
But I mean, I haven't thrown a blow in anger in just a long time.
Right, but you're angry and you're going to drag a guy out of the car and beat him to death.
I think
with your child,
especially when I got when I got car doors and all kinds of shit to fucking bounce this guy off of and stuff. That's a different ballgame. That's still my wheelhouse.
But you were like walk in. You are not angry at all at this person because you love and care about them.
I was smiling when I fucking asked him. I'm like,
no, I'm talking about when
we're sparring.
We're talking my road rage,
right?
Which was not my road rage. It was his road rage.
Do not want to hurt each other. We've made an agreement to punch each other in the face. And now we have to go do that. That's a scarier thing than I'm going to fucking rip you apart. That's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
Also, in for street fights, I feel like normally the person that lands the first punch wins.
Yeah.
Unless the guy doesn't hit hard or something, and you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. Boom, But on the other side, though, of what you're saying about, not wanting to hurt your partners, yes, that's true. But at the same time, if you watch me and Tyler Matheson spar, it's like watching a fight, honestly.
Really?
It's just, we're competitive. And we don't want to lose. You know what I'm saying? So, that's, one thing that Brock and, Chaz and my dad, they'll watch us spar, and they'll be like, oh, they're pairing up. I guess, they're supposed to be at 20%. I guess they're fighting.
Matheson, is that the
Tyler? Yeah,
Tyler Matheson,
short little guy,
wrestler.
Who again, talking about people who are just amazing partners. He was so generous with his time when I was getting ready for my fight. Really great pad holder, and it's hard to get somebody to work with Grandpa. And he was just.
That's a lot of guys in our gym, though. I feel like
everybody we have a very generous team.
Yeah,
and you know why we do. Is because we have a very generous coach.
Yep, and that's true. He leads by example, 100%.
I was sitting there on Facebook the other day after that black belt tournament, or not tournament, after the black belt seminar. So, oh God, what is it? I don't even know how long ago this was, but the gym has recently had a change, and Brock is now the sole owner of Start BJJ MN, which is great, in St. Cloud. And there was this little transition period where we were shut down for a week, and then for the grand reopening, he had all of the black belts come and teach one move for a full day, and it was really fun.
How cool.
It was a blast. And obviously, we all did that for nothing. It was blah, but I thought it was super cool. Actually, it was super fun. Plus, it was cool because, you ask a bunch of black belts to come and teach one move, they're going to show you their very best shit. So it was cool. And then afterward, Brock just had a post on Facebook that was basically thanking all of us for doing it. And I'm sitting there and I'm typing, and all of a sudden, I'm bawling like a bitch. But I was just saying in the post that basically, are you kidding me? You're thanking us for all that we did for you.
Yeah.
There's nobody in the history of the sport who's been as generous as you have been with your time, with your energy.
Just done so much for so many people,
and even with your money. Which he gives not a shit about. How often have you out of your pocket driven across the country to go corner some guy? It's just amazing the amount of work that he's done for our team. So I think because of his generosity, it makes the team very generous. But yeah,
he's for sure leads by example. Now that you say that, it just reminds me of the time, I believe it was Tony Martin fought in a different country, I don't remember where, for the UFC, and then Mo fought in Russia or something like that.
Didn't Tony fight in Russia?
I can't remember which it was. All I know is Mo and Tony fought 2 different places, and it was like a crazy flight, like hours wise. And then the third day, he ended up flying back to Minnesota to corner me at Mystic Lake. And it's like, Jesus Christ, Brock. And this was like my second pro fight, I want to say. And it's just like, oh my God, like, yeah, he gives so much to everyone else. It's crazy.
And traveling like that, like, man, if I could like fly to Chicago and I'd be like, whew, Lordy, that was a terrible flight. I'm beat.
Yeah, he was
Yeah, I've watched him drive all night to get to places, and I mean, I've been in the car. I remember one time I don't remember what we were doing. This was pretty funny. We were driving somewhere, and we were on our way back, and like we've been going for way too long, and we're talking, and I'm starting to drift off, and then I'm like, Brock, we're in a fucking parking lot. And he's asleep.
Oh, no.
We're just driving like 20 miles an hour, just swerving around this parking lot in some weird industrial park. Like, and I'm like, fuck. So we get out of the car. I was like, how fuck did we get here? He's like, dude, that's bad.
Oh no, that's scary.
Didn't hit anything, but he was just like, I was like, yeah, and I look over, I'm like, where fuck? We are driving in a parking lot, for Christ's sake. But, yeah, it's amazing. So when did you go pro?
Oh, she.
I mean, how many fights ago? How many pro fights have you had?
8. I've had 8 now. Yeah. So I'm trying to think. The Brainerd show that the Huffs had is my pro.
Oh,
debut.
the one that Logan fought on. My son Logan.
Yep.
Yeah, beat Mike.
Mike Wall.
Mike Wall.
Yes.
That was fucking funny.
Yeah, he's actually a nice guy.
Mike is?
Yeah.
Well, he talks some mad shit.
He did.
He still does.
Does he?
I see shit all the time. Man, did you?
He's always nice to me.
Did you ever listen to the one? Do you ever listen to what is it called? Shit Talk, Smack Talk?
Oh, Trash Talk. Damien Hill.
Yeah. Do you ever listen to that at all?
Yes.
So he had Mike Wall on there.
Yes, I remember.
After that fight.
Yes.
And he was telling Damien
terrible.
that he's like, yeah, well, I cut 10 pounds after that, after I weighed in. Damien's like, why would you do that? You already weighed in. Oh yeah, I just fight better at a lighter weight.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I think I'd do better against a bigger guy. I'd really like to fight Brock. What?
Yeah.
You like to fight? Yeah. Well, if I could get him on the ice, I could kick his ass. Damien's like, I think I can actually make that happen.
No fucking problem. This is Minnesota. We've got rinks everywhere.
Yeah, a little delusional, but like I said, he was always nice to me.
And the other funny, Mike, I do kind of feel bad because I feel like I'm like making fun of somebody who probably,
but he put himself out there, you know, and he clearly has some.
He must be at least mildly retarded, but he asks Matt Showalter, who is the head commissioner. He's like, hey, do I have to wear a mouth guard? Because I don't have any teeth.
Oh my god. Oh. Yeah, how would that work even? If you don't have any teeth, how does it stay in?
Well, he did have like 3 fucking snaggly like meth teeth, but but Matt just goes, yep, you do. Just walks away.
We'll tape it to your face, something.
Oh, so bad. Okay, so you fought there. Who did you fight there?
Ash Magic.
Okay. Yeah, I remember Ash. Yep. From Fargo or something?
Yep, Fargo, yep.
Yeah, he was tough.
Yeah, he was a tough kid. I think, though, he went 0-2 as a pro. But he had a decent amateur record when he fought.
Yeah, I remember him. I kind of remember him being kind of tough. I think he was in Dylan's. He worked with Dylan, right?
I don't remember. Yeah. I actually don't know who his team and stuff was, but I thought he was originally from Chicago or something.
Oh, maybe.
But I might be wrong.
But I know he was training in Fargo. I mean, he fought up in North Dakota all the time.
Yeah,
but
no.
So I used to do all those fights.
Yeah, no, he was a good striker and stuff like that. But I ended up knocking him out in like a minute 30 or something like that with a body shot. I punched him in the solar plex.
Yes, I do remember that now. Yeah. Huh.
So, yeah. And then my second pro fight was against...
I still actually, though, that, I do have that fight.
Yeah, that one's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Or no,
yeah,
on your
Facebook.
On your Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
just spit those out when
those I didn't really get to watch any of those fights.
There's like 6 of them.
Well, I didn't work that one, and like, so like if I go to fights and I'm just like in the crowd, fucking running for mayor, you know, like blah 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 blah, like I'm fucking talking to everybody and shit.
Yeah.
Even when we went to Fargo to see your fight.
Oh yeah,
Fargo.
the CF or CES.
Yeah, we were with Thomas Herrera. Thomas Herrera?
Yep. Thomas Herrera.
Yeah.
He's fighting soon. He's fighting on the 10th, I believe.
He is fighting.
Yep. It's his whatever. His last fight.
Pro debut and retirement.
Yes, he's doing his
man.
For a title too.
Yeah.
In his hometown.
Yeah. And I think he'll win.
And
he's super tough.
He's fighting Matt Legou.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he's fighting Matt Legou.
And actually, I was pretty impressed. He's a super nice guy.
Thomas?
Yes.
Yes, he is.
I mean, like when I asked him, he said he had some table seats available, and I was like, oh yeah, man, I love it. And I said, what do I owe you? He's like, oh, just donate to the Tap Out Cancer. I was like,
oh, that's cool,
dude, that's so cool,
right?
Yeah. And super nice guy. And he's being just incredibly respectful to Matt Legou. And fuck Matt Legou. He is a fucking piece of shit. So like, what the fuck? So he better kill him.
I don't know. I've seen him fight a couple of times, but I don't.
Who's that, Matt or
Matt Legou?
Thomas?
You saw him lay there and
he got a couple wins.
Fuck him.
Matt's got a couple.
He's just a
Why
piece
did you
of shit.
hate Matt?
Oh, you missed all of that? He used to train at
I've trained with him before.
Well, I never have liked the fucking guy. Like, I've known him for years. I didn't like him before he started training with us. I certainly didn't like him during training with us, and I haven't liked him after training with us. Yeah, he's just a douchebag.
He usually brings fun. He brings fun fans.
Yeah, okay.
He's always been nice to me, so I can't say too much negative. I will say
I'll take care of it. I'll say the negative stuff.
Okay. I will say the one. Were you at the fighter meeting where he said some craziness? I'm sure you heard of it.
I have heard of it.
There was a fighter meeting, and I don't know exactly why we had the fighter meeting. I think guys were gassing in fights or something like that. And at the time, Matt obviously trained with us at the compound, and Dave Owens, Brock, everybody was there. And they're pretty much saying, like, hey, if you want to fight, you need to train. Because guys were, like, gassing, I think.
I do remember this.
They'd win, like, the first round and then gas out. And
I don't think I was there. It was the, do you want to be a fucking fighter?
Yes,
like,
sort of thing.
Like, conversation. Brock was like, if you're going to do this, you got to take it seriously. Because I'm putting a hell of a lot of time and energy into you guys.
Yes. So,
he was chewing your asses.
Yeah, Brock was. And, at the time, I think Matt was, like,
teaching fucking kids class.
Well, he taught kickboxing.
And kids class, I think.
Yeah, and kids class. But he taught kickboxing. And I remember Matt being like, oh, Tyler's a turd, but at least he shows up to my classes and this and that. I'm just sitting here like, whatever, like kind of like dozing off. And then he says the most outlandish shit. He says, Angel might be a better boxer than me. Tyler might be a better wrestler than me. And Brock might be a better jiu-jitsu guy than me. But when you put it all together, I'm the best. I'm like, huh? Like, I stop and I'm like, huh? Wait, what? Like, you can't say that when Brock's in the room. And you can't say that when there's professional fighters in the room with better fight records than you. That makes no sense, sir.
And you're fucking garbage.
So where are these fights going to take place?
I don't know, but now I want to go to them. No, it's the it's Austin.
Austin, Minnesota. Yeah, it's quite the drive.
Here's the
thing.
We
can go to Austin.
I know, but here's the thing. We were just talking about going to Fargo, so I got to get these tickets from Thomas. Go up there, sit with his wife, and like they're nice seats, man. They're table seats. Mm-hmm. I am like 8 feet from the cage, and I was like, "This sucks."
Yeah, it's compared to like being up close.
Dude, I get to sit or be hanging on the side of the cage.
Right.
I have.
Like, we've got like the best seats in the house, and we're still like. No, nobody's spit has fucking hit me. I don't have any blood on me. Like
you couldn't pay for a better seat.
Yeah,
but it was like, fuck, this sucks. No. Like Joe Rogan has said that too. I remember him talking about how he doesn't the only time he ever watches fights is when he's watching with his friends have fun, or he's sitting by the cage because anything else just sucks.
Yeah,
and it's like
I feel like the beer kind of almost made up for it.
The thing is that I paid a lot less attention to the fights because I was getting drinking.
Yeah, you're talking to people and stuff. But
so my point was, I would definitely
Angel didn't do us any fucking favors because I went to take a leak and I was back in plenty. I was going to be back in plenty of fucking time.
Did you miss it?
Practically.
Really?
The first fight or the second fight?
I mean, I wasn't like it started and I was coming in the door, but by the time I got over to the fucking seats, it was over.
The Fargo fights or the
Fargo fights?
Oh goodness.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I was very. I fucking hate Matt Legou. Okay, what were we talking about? I just can't. I cannot. I fucking want Thomas. Thomas, if you're watching this, you gotta fucking break him. All right, which shouldn't be hard because he's fragile and fat, so you'll be fine.
There should be a word for fragile and fat.
Jesus.
Like fragile?
Fragile.
That makes you sound
and
agile.
He's flagellant and fragile.
I will say
that he does fart a lot.
I will say, I don't know.
I got on a rant.
I don't think he has much of a chance of beating Thomas.
Thomas is tough as fuck.
Yeah, he's just such a good athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, the only spot I could maybe see him have issues is on the ground, but even that, Thomas is very top pressure heavy and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, the only place that Matt is kind of dangerous is on the ground like half guard, like that kind of thing. But but then Thomas is gonna be dropping fucking elbows on his stupid face.
I don't know how we got off on this rant.
I don't know, but I'm really
I like it.
I have pressure in my chest.
I like it when Matt's the angry one. I love that shit.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. No, I don't. Yeah.
So we're talking about your fights. Yep. So you knocked out Ash in your first one with that liver shot, which I remember that very clearly.
Yep. And then I fought out in Mystic Lake I fought at Jackpot Junction, I believe.
Okay.
Against Sam Hernandez, and I think he was like 3-1 at the time when I fought him, and I ended up TKOing him in the first round, I believe. I ended up dropping him and then taking his back and punching him until he lost pretty much.
Okay.
And then third fight, I believe, was the LFA fight with what is his name? Felipe from Wisconsin. And I think when I fought him, he was only 1-0, but now he's like 4-2 maybe.
And where was the LFA?
Mystic Lake.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And then I ended up taking kind of a short notice fight.
So did you win that one?
Yes, I won
in the LFA.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. Sorry, I won that one by TKO in the second round, early in the second round. And then I ended up taking a somewhat short notice fight in Georgia at 150, and I ended up getting a decision loss. The guy was a good wrestler.
What do you usually fight at?
145.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you walk around at?
160.
Okay.
Yeah. And he was just a lot better than I expected. I think I was a little overconfident for that fight, and I made a lot of mistakes. Like, looking back on it, obviously hindsight.
Right.
So it's like, it sucked because at the time we were going through COVID.
Right.
Okay, that's right. I really had no wrestling training partners. Like, I had Joey, which was like a long guy, but he's not a wrestler.
Right.
You know, if you know Joey Hart at all.
He's fucking fun to watch fight.
Yeah, he is.
He's
so
fun to watch. Incredibly. He's so incredibly, like, Gumby.
Yes.
Can't wait to watch that kid fight again.
Yeah, he's very tough.
I actually have a quick story about him. One of the first times I ever trained with him, he came down to the compound. My cousin, Lupe Navarro, brought him down. He's like, hey, this guy got a lot of potential. I want to see how he does with you, this and that. And it was just boxing. And we ended up doing boxing sparring. And I was like, okay, we're going to do 6 rounds. I'll do 6 rounds, and then you do 6 rounds. So we're just getting one guy stays in.
Okay.
So he got to like maybe round 3. And I had to like pull him out of it because he gassed really bad. He was getting the shit kicked out of him. And the guy he was sparring with was not hitting him light. Like, they were trying to knock him out. And I'm just like, okay. Like I pulled him out, and he's like, no, I'm good. I'm like, no, you're good for now.
There's this thing called CTE.
Yeah.
We're trying to avoid that.
So I pulled him out, and that was like kind of my first impression of him. I was just like kind of like, ugh, I don't know. Like he's tough, but like no gas tank. I just didn't know what to think.
But
of
did
him.
he
showed skills?
Was
like,
he? But was he?
Had he? Kid.
Had he been a boxer?
Yeah, no, he was boxing in Wilmer at the time.
Oh.
But in Wilmer, it was kind of like you go, you just work real hard. They don't really teach you anything. So it was kind of, he had, like there was part like where he would spar, and it was like, oh, he looks good. But then once he gassed, it was just like, I don't know. I wasn't sure. And then I pretty much invited him like to start training with us. And then he starts showing up, and now he's a fucking killer, and he's a pain in the ass to spar with.
So he was a guy that started really basically doing boxing with you guys.
Yeah,
and then made a transition to jiu-jitsu.
From my understanding, he was like a skateboarder kind of kid. Never did any other sports other than like swimming, which is crazy. But he would street fight. He's like the nicest freaking kid in the world. Yeah, he loves street fighting.
That shit used to go hand in hand with skateboarding.
Yeah. So
just you can be a super nice guy and still like to mix it up.
Oh, for sure.
Right? There's nothing wrong with that. But he is a super nice guy, like Kyle was talking about after the fight.
Dude, yeah. I'm like, man, kid, I hope you get to, because that's when that fights in Brainerd was still on. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, kid, I hope you get a fight up in Brainerd after, for this next show.
Yeah.
And he's like, yes, sir, I would love to. And I'm like, really? Like this kid's like just a prince,
Yeah, no, he's a great kid, and he's another one of those guys like you're saying, like Tyler Matson. Like they give you your time, like that they'll sacrifice whatever they need to sacrifice to give you time. Like that fight in Georgia, like I said, he was like my main training partner at the time, just because of like the length and everything. But
the length. Like you saw our last video, on those fights, of course.
Yeah.
That just he fucking blew my mind because he's so long.
Yeah.
But he likes to get in close and bang.
No, yeah.
I was like, holy shit, he doesn't even use his length. Like,
no, yeah.
Kid's an animal.
And that's the crazy thing. Like he knows how to now,
sure.
Especially. But yeah, he's a dog. That's all it is. Like he just enjoys getting in there and hurting people. And that's the thing too, like once you figure out how to like knee people, Jesus Christ,
I know
that shit sucks. I hate, like if I spar with him, like the moment he clinches me, I'm like, shit.
Yeah, I can't wait to see him fight again.
Matt Spacer.
It's still amateur, right?
No, he's a pro now.
He's a pro now. Okay,
debut,
that's right. Because he said, because he said afterward, he said, no, like a knee, you gotta be watch out. No. Dude, I couldn't believe that knee like came. They were like dick to dick, and he fucking shot that knee
up there
right
all the way
up the middle.
It's
like that was some crazy shit.
He's a good fighter. He's a guy that for sure, as long as nothing like catastrophic happens to him, he's gonna go to the UFC. I have no doubt. Honestly,
that's good.
Like he's that good, and he doesn't.
And he's young.
Yeah, he's super young, but he doesn't get discouraged.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Like for the longest time, especially when he showed up at our gym, his main guy was like Colin Hucklebody, where he was getting ragdolled constantly. Bobby Lee ragdoll constantly. Yeah. Like even like with me back then, I would just do whatever I wanted with him on the ground and stuff. And now it's just like, Jesus, you're hard to submit. You're on the feet. Jesus, you're hard to freaking hit now. Like what the hell's going on? It's just, and he's only like 24 or 25 or something like that. It's like
he gets to work with such tough guys and shit.
Yeah.
Man.
And that's the thing. I'll say that too. Like Brock giving him opponents, like as an amateur, he goes like a completely different route. He's like, oh, you're bad at this? Okay, I'm just going to throw only wrestlers at you until you figure out how to beat wrestlers. So it's just like, okay. I mean, you get better or you die, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's the way it goes.
But yeah, so back to the Georgia fight. So yeah, I ended up losing a decision.
So was that one of those during COVID where there was like no audience?
Well, in Atlanta, they were completely open.
Oh, they were just
yeah. I actually came back with COVID after that fight. Me and Brock both got COVID.
Oh, that was right.
I lost a fight in Georgia, and all I got was this stupid COVID.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Luckily for me and Brock, at least I don't know what his symptoms were, but
he didn't have any.
All I had was like a stuffy nose.
Yeah,
much. And I lost smell.
Brock wouldn't have known he had COVID except he tested
because we went to visit our grandparents.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I got tested too, because I had a stuffy nose. I was like, I don't know if I got it, but I'm gonna go see my grandparents, so I'm gonna get tested. And then I had it, and I was like, ah, shit. I guess no Christmas for me this year. So, which is weird because my wife never got it.
That is weird.
Yeah.
Is that the only time you've had it?
No, I've had it twice.
Fuck, me too.
Yeah. But the second time, I literally had no symptoms either.
God damn, the second time was worse for me.
Was it?
Yeah. The first time was a breeze, but the second time, I felt like shit.
It felt much easier I barely felt
that's
anything.
what I was like. this is no big deal. I got it again. I've already had it. I've been vaccinated. This. I felt like shit. Yeah. And for a long time. Like I was sick for like a solid week and then another month of just not being right. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well,
so I don't want it again.
Yeah.
Because I thought I was bulletproof after the first time. I was like, fuck it. Yeah, if I get it again, no big deal. And now
were you vaccinated when you got it the first time?
No, I got it really early.
Okay.
I got it I don't even remember. Huh. But yeah, I know. Actually, I do kind of remember because it was actually really convenient because it was right after the gyms closed.
Okay.
And then I got it right over Thanksgiving, so I didn't have to do shit for Thanksgiving, which is good. But it was a breeze.
I got it over Christmas, both times.
Oh,
so
really?
I wasn't able to see my grandparents again for Christmas.
That sucks.
And that's the thing we would always do is go to my grandparents' house for Christmas and Thanksgiving and stuff like that. So, yeah, that kind of sucked.
So did you win that fight in Atlanta?
No, I lost. I lost the decision.
You lost the decision, okay.
Yeah.
So that was your first loss as a pro.
Yeah. And then I'm trying to think. So that was my fourth fight.
So was that a pretty big promotion? I mean, why'd you go to Atlanta? You were short.
Part of it was I was just being too impatient. I should have just waited, probably. In reality, like I shouldn't be fighting guys like because that fucker was big. So I shouldn't have probably fought someone that big. I'm
so
pretty sure
you fight at 45
normally.
You fight at 45.
Yeah.
And he fights at 55. So you guys met at 50.
Yeah. And
so
I
that
think
was
he
probably
had fought at 45 in the past. But after we fought, I'm pretty sure he ended up going to like PFL at 155.
Okay.
So I'm assuming, unless it's just because PFL makes you fight like every 6 weeks or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's rough.
So maybe that's why I went to 55. But he's a big dude. Big dude. And then from there, I had the fight with Damien and Wilmer in my hometown.
So I want to talk a little bit about that. So Damien Hill, who is a guy who has another podcast. I'd love to actually have him on. And he's a cool guy. He's funny. He's really funny. Right after your fight.
He's a seasoned vet, right? Like
he used to fight a ton back in the day.
I think he's like 12 or 13 and like 6 or 8 now, or something like that. So yeah.
Right after your fight, he put out a video that was just crazy about this. Like somebody was trying to break into cars in the parking lot.
He confronted them or something.
Yeah, and he goes up and he's got his phone on. Yeah, and like he's like whatever, and then the guy like shoves him and he's like recording the guy, and then he just starts punching him.
Well, he's recording it.
Yes, it's hilarious.
Didn't put his phone down.
No. He just recorded it the whole time.
Can we please get this guy out of the show?
Yeah, it was great. And he just got his ass kicked. Yeah. So,
but not by a guy in a parking lot.
Not by a guy in a parking lot.
I wouldn't say you guys ass kicked.
So where was that at? That was in
that was a good fight.
Wilmer. So I've talked about this before. I said it when we were doing the commentary last fight. It's one of my favorite fights. Not just that you've ever had.
Not one of mine.
One of my favorite fights I've ever watched. Because you guys are both, like, I liked both of you. Yeah. Right, but I obviously wanted you to win.
Yeah.
And you go out there and you're doing well and you get caught.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, Damien's not a joke.
No,
it's not like there's any
shame in that.
It's not like you went out and got caught by Mike Wall. I mean, you got caught by a guy who can punch.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you didn't get caught even on the ice.
Well, that's the thing that. So first of all, a little bit of backstory about that fight. So, before that fight, I want to say like a month prior, my grandfather passed away.
Oh. And you hadn't got to see him in the last 2 years.
Yeah. Well, no, I had visited him after getting COVID and stuff like that. And we knew, like, his health was declining really bad for a while. But I'm trying to see, probably like 3 weeks before my fight or something like that.
That's rough.
Is when he passed. And, like, it's no excuse, obviously. But
no, but it's
that was really... Oh, that was really heavy.
Just answer, Kyle. Let's put him on speaker. Let's find out what they're talking about.
That was really...
Worst thing is, it was an alarm.
Oh, that was really, like, not bugging me, but it's just... Well, it's weird.
It's going to distract you when you're trying to train and shit.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it's going to...
Like, even, like, the day he passed and stuff, like, I don't know. I tried to, like, distract myself with training and stuff, but, yeah, I was super emotional, though. I remember going into the cage and stuff, like, my normal warm-up and stuff like that, and my dad came over, and I was, like, warming up or whatever. He calls me down, and I kind of go to my knees and stuff, and he's like, hey, you know, he's not your friend tonight, so don't be nice. Like, he's like, I know you're friendly with him and stuff like that, but don't, you know, just don't. I was like, yeah, this and that. And
just for the record, I don't think there's anything wrong with fighting somebody you're friends with.
Yeah,
like,
no.
I don't, like, it's a little weird if you're training partners, which I have worked with people that have had to fight people that they've trained with, and that's okay too. But, I mean, it's cool. It's a job.
Yeah. But, you know, he's giving me that, and I'm just, like, sitting here like, man, I don't know why, but, like, that whole day, like, I was just thinking about my grandpa, because it's like, he lived in Wilmer too, and it's like, man, he could be here, and it just, I don't know, that bugged me so much, because he wasn't.
Yeah, you know? That's tough.
But anyway, yeah, so that really bugged, I don't know, that bugged me a lot.
So in that fight, you got tagged.
Yeah.
There was a certain point in that fight where I was convinced they were going to stop it.
Same here.
And I was totally okay with that. Like, if they had stopped it, I would not have been like, oh, fucking early stop, dick.
I 100% agree. So one thing that threw me off is a lot of times when you hurt people, he'd hit him with his right hook. And when I went in, I rushed him, and I stayed right in front of him. He hit me with a knee is what really messed me up. So he grabbed my head, boom, kneed me in the chin, and I backed up, and, like, I was, like, coherent and, like, conscious and stuff, but then I noticed my legs were not working. And I'm like, what the hell? And I'm, like, looking at him, and I hear his corner, get him, he's hurt. I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking, okay, back up. Throw a hard right hand. They'll get him off you. I try to back up. My legs are all over the place. I'm like, oh, no, I'm Bambi right now. He's rushing me, hitting me. I'm like, oh, no, I cannot do this right now. So I literally, like, lean up against the cage because if not, I'm going to fall.
Right.
My body was not working at all, or at least not listening.
Right.
And I'm looking like peripheral, like, while he's punching at me, I'm looking, and the ref is getting closer, a little close. I'm like, shit, I need to do something. So I shoot, stops my takedown, obviously.
And you didn't really shoot.
No, it was just get off me.
You dropped and grabbed his legs.
Yeah.
Which I actually teach that because I love it. It's like I teach a cop class, and I was talking about, like, when you can't stand anymore, then just go down and like do the, you know, like, so you grab his legs, and
so I grab his legs. He stops my takedown. We ended up back on our feet. He's punching more. I'm like, okay, like, I'm starting to feel like maybe my legs are getting under me a little bit. He freaking head kicks me, and I'm like, oh great. It hits my arm, but it rocked me again, and I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck? I need to figure out how to get the hell out of here. We end up clinching again, punching, and then he ends up taking me down, and I'm like, oh, thank God.
Right.
So then
which is a lesson to fighters out there.
So I kind of, like, get a weird situation where I'm, like, on his leg, trying to come up, and he starts elbowing me, but like the ones I hit Zach with, kind of. Now I'm like, oh crap, I need to, you know, figure this out. So I ended up getting out of that situation again, and I get taken down again, Or no, then he instead of elbowing me, he tries to guillotine me. And I'm like, oh, perfect. Because if you ever see like anything on my social media, like when it comes to jiu-jitsu, I'm just always like, chokes are fake kind of thing.
Yes.
Constantly saying that. Obviously not true. Chokes do work. Don't believe me when it comes to that. But for me, just from being so uncomfortable all the time in crap situations, at least when it comes to jiu-jitsu, like it takes a lot to sub me to at least with the guillotine or anything like that. So then
especially and I mean every gym has their strong points, but like there's so many killers in St. Cloud in that gym that our Kimura defense is pretty good. Because there's not a person in the gym doesn't have a torn rotator cuff, right? and guillotine defending choke defenses for sure.
Yeah. So he ends up going for that. I end up passing, taking his back, punching him, and then getting a rear naked choke into a short choke and finishing it with literally like a second left or something, or like half a second left. I don't know what it was. I don't know. And then after the fight, I stand up so mad. I was so mad at myself because of getting caught and just looking terrible.
You looked amazing.
Nah, I fought on autopilot, so it's like, shit.
Okay.
Dude, that just means under duress.
But the thing is, and I've said this before. I said this to you, I think that night or the next day at the gym.
We talked.
But it's like that is exactly what fighting is supposed to be. Now, it's like, because if you can only be good when everything is perfect, well then fucking you're not good. But if you can be good when everything is wrong, when you can't use your legs anymore because when
you got caught by a fucking really tough guy with a good record,
and people
been
probably
doing it for a long time,
I mean, those of you who have never been punched in the face, I got a task for you. But if you like getting hit, especially like on the button like that, it is bizarre to like. It's like, oh, I just told my hand to do that, and it said, "Go fuck yourself." Like it just isn't. In the brain sent the current to the right spot, and it just didn't happen. And you're like, well, that sucks.
So you've got that really wide variety of all the different things that can happen when you get fucking rocked. What's it going to be this time? Oh, why does everything sound so weird? What's that ringing? Shit like that.
And then another thing that kind of went through my head, like right after, I was like, shit, I shouldn't have submitted him because he gassed. Like that's the only explanation I could think of. Like, why would you start wrestling? He was gassed. He couldn't punch anymore. I should have just let him go to the next round, and then I could have taken advantage and knocked him out probably. But it is what it is. Maybe, but no.
But then also he was going to have another time
10 seconds.
In between round in between the rounds, and
here's my thing.
That regardless, what my praise of that fight was not so much you weren't making decisions in that fight.
I mean,
because you didn't have the ability to make decisions.
Yeah, I didn't have much to work.
But you said you were fighting on autopilot.
Yeah.
Okay, so like Bruce Lee, right? If you ever read the Way of Jeet Kune Do, right? He talks about how like the highest level of fighting is Mushin, meaning no mind, right? Yeah. So it's when you don't even know. You aren't making any conscious choices of what your body's doing. Your body's just doing what it's supposed to do. Yeah. And that's what I thought was so cool about that fight, because you were fucking out.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
And he ends up the one asleep at the end.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite fights. Watched it like 15 times.
Yeah. Thanks, appreciate that. But no, it's probably just a pride thing, like you just don't want to look.
Well, but I mean, that's kind of a champion's attitude, when you fucking beat up on yourself over a fucking win that like we loved.
And I don't think anybody else didn't love it too. I mean, other than people like saying like feeling bad for you for getting hit.
Yeah.
And even had you like gotten like even if had Damien like finished you, there was still nothing. Still would have been a good loss.
I mean, no such
I would have
thing as a
definitely
good
wanted
loss,
to see a rematch.
But yeah.
I don't believe that.
No.
I think losses are important. I think
To an
they're
extent.
really, really important.
To an extent.
Well, dude,
But-
if you wouldn't have lost in Georgia, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have realized that you were
No, I agree with
were
that.
overconfident and that
Yeah.
you were thinking you were indestructible. I think Brock's when he lost to John Fitch, I think that was one of the most important fights that ever happened. Plus, he was a distance with John Fitch before everybody knew John Fitch was a fucking monster. Because what did Fitch fight? 12 fights after that and and finished everybody in like the first round. It was just ridiculous. And Brock went the distance with him and still lost, but but I think that was really important because that up till that point I think Brock, or at least we all thought Brock was indestructible.
Like what you had said too, that's kind of like the Teddy Atlas's thing, like, oh, you're not in a fight until you hit adversity and then you find out who you are.
Exactly.
Like a lot of people make fun of the song I walk out to, Galli Pelea from Tigre Nortes. It's that Spanish song that I walk out to all the time.
Speak American.
All right.
I waited the whole fucking podcast to make that joke. I was just waiting for you to speak some Spanish so I could say that.
I don't speak much of it.
So,
but no, the song is about a guy. He's pretty much saying like he wants to like die in the ring, like a gamecock, and that's like what the shirt says. It's a gamecock. So, yes, that's like a kind of a weird moniker, but that's the way I feel. Like my last fight, I text my wife before the fight and I was like, hey, just to let you know, everything's going to be fine, this and that. And no matter what, the guy has to kill me to win this fight. Like, there's no way I'm coming back a loser. And like, I know she wouldn't care whether or not I won or not. It's just, to me, this is all I do right now.
Right.
So if I lose, I'm failing my family,
Right.
So there's no option. Like, the losing isn't an option, whether the guy's good or not. Like, it doesn't matter. I don't know. And that was also another thing. Like, that was the Damien fight was my first fight where I didn't work full time. I had just quit. My wife right now, like, she's the only one working in the house. She works full time for Capital One from home.
She's the only one
making money.
She's right
on a consistent basis.
Right. You are working.
Yes, I'm working. Right. I'm working. Yeah, obviously I train.
Like, I think that's something that people like. I think that's a misconception that a lot of people have about people who fight, because especially when they start getting paydays, right?
Yeah,
they start getting decent paydays. It's like, dude, you made $20,000 in 8 seconds. Fuck that. You made $20,000
in fucking 6 months.
6 months of working 90 hours a week.
Not even that though. Like 12. Since I was 14.
Right.
I've been working on, and that's another thing. Like when we're out in Philly, and I was talking to like one of the commissioners out there, and he was talking about like drinks. Like, what's your favorite drink? I don't know. I don't drink.
Right.
Like since I was 14, I knew I wanted to do this.
Right.
I was focused on this. And granted, like I said earlier, like sometimes I wasn't the most focused, but I always knew like this is the ultimate thing. Like I want to do this.
Right.
So I never went out and drank. Like I didn't smoke weed until I was like 26. That was
you
the first time I ever
stoner.
tried. Yeah. And
then you were like,
I don't
this
do
is
it.
what I've been missing.
No, it was terrible.
Me too. Tyler and I are both the same way.
Same with drinking. Like my bachelor party was the first time I ever drank. And I was like also 26. And that was terrible too. Oh my God. The room was spinning for like 2 days. I swear to God. It was the worst.
Well, you just have to train.
You have to train.
Like anything. Yeah.
So
like,
I don't do that.
Just don't liver punch me.
Yeah.
Because that fucking thing will explode.
But yeah, no. That's the way I see it. Is like everything, like success wise, is from the beginning. You don't become a champion from the last 6 months of what you've done. It's everything.
So when Kayla Harrison. I always want to say Henderson, but when she was up at the gym, Kayla is a fucking 2-time Olympic judo gold medalist, and just a monster in
2-time
MMA.
PFL champion.
Yeah,
too.
no, she's And I was reading that does she have the fight with Cyborg?
I don't know. I think she's pushing for it, but I'm not sure.
Well, I thought that happened, but I thought that contract was signed. But regardless, she's amazing. But she was an amazing Olympian. And the second gold medal that she won, she never even got scored upon in the Olympics. Like, so
that's crazy.
She was a clean sweep. Okay. She was talking about like what it took for her to get there, and it was super interesting. And basically, it took everything. It took her entire life. It took her having no life from the time she was a child on to get to that zenith.
Yeah.
And I am lazy, and I am like undedicated to almost everything in my life.
You're a black belt, though.
Including dude, like, right? How come? I just fucking kept going at a medium pace for a really long time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I just did it for a really long time at a medium pace. I never have dedicated myself to anything long term because I get fucking bored, right?
Yeah.
What was my point? Oh, yeah. So I have a lot of admiration for people who are willing and able to focus in on the one thing and do that thing. And then the other thing I was going to say is about how much people discount how much effort is put in to winning that fight.
It's crazy.
And it reminds me of I was reading this meme the other day about woodworking, which I am mildly passionate about. Like, same thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm a fairly good amateur. I'm as good of a woodworker as I am at jiu-jitsu. Yeah, I can make you a table. It'll probably hold for a while. But it was the thing about making a table. This guy wants a table, and it was saying how much do would it cost for you to make me this table? And he said it'd be $8,000. And the guy's like, what are you talking about? $8,000? Dude, I could make it myself for for half that much or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, of course you could. Go do that. And he's like, okay, yeah, just get the wood. It's got, and so he breaks down all the things that it's going to take to make this table. Right? He's like, well, and then you're going to have to buy the equipment. But, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll rent you the equipment, and this will be whatever. And then at the end he goes, and then you're going to have to spend 20 years honing your skills to the point where you can actually make that table, right? So you go and do that, and, you can make the table for half as much as I'm going to charge you for that table.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what...
Yeah, that time, you can't replace it.
Right. You've been working since you're 14 to get to that point. So I was so proud of you in the Damien Hill thing. I know you were very disappointed in that, but I thought that was a great fight.
It was exciting.
So then was your next fight?
Next fight was Zach.
Was Zach Schroeder. Yep. So we were up there. That was the fight that we were at where I was drunk and disappointed. But it was a lot of fun. And I've known Zach for a really long time. He used to fight quite a bit back in the day.
He's a very popular fighter in Fargo.
And he's trained with all the people up there that I know real well. Tyler Larson and Dylan Spicer. I always say Damien because we had Damien from Minneapolis. I always got those two confused.
And holy shit, is that guy? He looks like a Greek god.
Yeah,
he's so chill.
Zach.
He does.
Just
he's a great guy. And then about 10 years ago, he was fighting
Randy
Kittleson, and he was kicking the shit out of Randy. And Randy is just nuts.
Yeah.
Did you spend much time training with Randy?
No, I trained a bunch with Randy.
Okay, because he was.
No, I know exactly who Randy is.
I used to train quite a bit with Randy, and I remember sparring with him, and it was a joke. It was pathetic, and he would dance around me, and I couldn't hit him, and then he would do some kind of weird splits move, and then punch me in the leg, and then jump back up. I'd be like, hey, this is humiliating. Stop it. Just stand there.
Keep up, old man. We're breakdance fighting.
Punch back and forth, okay? You're making fun of me now. And
he most definitely was.
Oh, totally.
Yeah,
totally. I mean, he's a super athletic kid, whatever. But he was one of those guys who just could do magical things every once in a while.
Yeah.
And he comes out after getting destroyed in the first round, and he does this crazy flying knee and just shatters Zach's face.
Fucking gross.
No, he actually posted that to my timeline.
Randy did?
Yeah, after my last fight, because I ended up landing my flying knee.
So, yes, I don't want to wreck it.
Yeah.
I want to tell the story. So, because I don't want to talk about your flying knee till after.
I'll get back to that.
Yeah, put a pin in that.
No, I know Randy fought him and whatnot. But originally Brock was looking for a 45er, and Brock likes Zach also.
Yeah.
Like,
well, Zach's hard not to like.
Friends.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, they're friends and stuff like that. And I don't know the guy, but Brock was pretty much like, hey, I'm looking for other people just because I don't want you to fight him because, he's my buddy pretty much. Oh. And preferably, like, you fight someone else, which is, like, whatever. But he's like, but just letting you know, if we can find no one else, it's going to be him.
Well, yeah.
And that was the Fargo fight.
Yeah, and Zach wanted to make a comeback in MMA because he, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, he started getting really into fitness.
Yeah.
And he looks great. He's
yeah.
He's got one of all that.
No, I know.
He's got those like little like that's not really a real muscle, is it? Like, is that an implant?
He's got like 0.5% body fat or some shit.
Yeah, no, he's in good shape.
And then we were fighting with it, and then I ran into Tyler Larson at the fight. And I was like, oh, I'm super excited about this fight because I really love Angel, but I really like Zach too. And Tyler goes, oh, yeah. And I was like, what's wrong? He goes, oh, Zach's going to get his fucking ass kicked. And I said, oh, I shouldn't really say this.
I was thinking
secret's out. You know what? Fuck you, Zach. Put your time in. So he said, yeah, Zach he just hasn't been putting his time on the mat. Yeah. And I said, well, he looks great. He goes, yeah, he looks wonderful. But that's not what wins fights. And I was like, oh shit. Well, Angel has been putting his time in, so I think this might go bad. So then you go out there and how'd that fight go?
So we went out. I think he landed a good kick, and then he shot right away.
And Zach is a good wrestler.
Yep. He shot right away. I ended up hitting the cage, elbowing him in the ear a bunch. He fell over. I kept elbowing him, and then he was screaming, "Stop, stop!" And I looked at the ref like, "What the hell? Like, why aren't you stopping this fight? Whatever." And I was like pointing, even saying like, "He's screaming, like, whatever." And then his corner threw in the towel, and then I won the fight or whatever. So
interesting. I didn't think but that's Fargo. In Minnesota, the corner can't throw in the towel.
No. I mean, I don't know if they did or didn't in Minnesota, but the Fargo one, I remember the towel coming over. And then so I got a little upset.
Why were you upset?
Not my performance or anything like that. Just right away, like right after, I heard his corner, which I think was that Tyler Larson, saying like, "Oh, back of the head," and I'm like, "No, that was the ear. Like, I don't know what you're talking about." And they kind of made like, Tyler Larson made a post. And also Zach did, and Zach had tagged me in the post.
Ooh.
And it was like a big, long one. And at first it started like, oh, respect to Brock and Angel and this and that. But then he pretty much implied like, hey, you cheated. But not, like, he said it like in the nicest possible way. But to me, and this is why it kind of like upset me, is like, you're devaluing my win. Like,
and not only that, you are sitting there dropping elbows on him. He's saying stop, and you're like stopping and saying, fucking, you're going to stop this or what?
Yeah.
Okay, fine, I'll give him a couple more.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like you were like trying to kill him when he was already.
No, yeah. And maybe it's like just me being like softer now because I'm a father or whatever, but like I don't even look at opponents like profiles or anything now because it's like like this guy has kids. Like I don't want to kill this guy and he has kids, and maybe that's not good. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I can't.
To me, it's like I never used to care. Like it was never like even a relevant thing. Like like this person has people that love him, Like it never crossed my mind ever. And now it's just like, not that I'm not gonna hurt the person. Still, obviously I will, but after the fact, it's like, ugh, I feel like
interesting.
Weird.
You're getting into the third round of this real knockdown, drag out fight, and you're thinking about the guy's grandmother.
No. During the fight,
no.
During the fight, I don't think of any of that.
I don't think
but
it
afterward,
should matter.
It's
but
just
I mean,
weird.
That's a tough one because I'm not in that situation.
Especially like someone screaming, like stop, and it's like this ref does not care about you guys.
The reffing. And so I've never liked the North Dakota Commission. They've just
not very great.
They suck ass. Yeah, and they're really like I don't know, the fucking assholes. But yeah, so the reffing has always been pretty shitty up there. So
okay.
I thought the reffing was, I didn't think it was horrible in that one, but yeah. Anyway, North Dakota. I mean, it's fucking North Dakota.
Yeah. So then after that fight, I came out healthy. A little bit of like elbow.
Yeah, you had
than that,
you had a little was that chapping from the elbows? You dropped on his fucking head.
Yeah,
on the back of his head.
Just kidding. Back of his head. Yeah.
Should have went with that nice soft ear to cushion the blow.
So then we ended up having the CFX fights, which were like a month later.
Yeah.
A month and a half later. My original opponent was supposed to be Ben Piercing.
Ooh, I don't like that.
Apparently, he had verbally agreed. I posted about it, saying like, "Oh, I'm fighting Ben," and he has a good record, good fighter.
Yeah. Man, he's 145?
See, that's the thing. I believe his last fight was at 25, and I even looked up his record, and I was like, I'm pretty sure he just fought at 25, but I think he normally fights at 35.
Yeah.
But I guess now he's fighting at 25, so whatever. And like, I don't care, but
you're not going down to 25 or 35.
No. So then they asked like, why are you fighting this guy again? And I was like, well, pretty much flat out because Ben said he was going to fight me and now he's not. And then there's a big Facebook thing where people jumped on Ben and Ben talked shit to our gym. It's like, look,
I didn't see all that.
Yeah, it's like, look, to me, I won't say anything. Just don't talk shit about me.
Right.
Because it wasn't the first time I've heard about him saying, oh, Angel's been ducking me, this and that. Bro, I don't duck people. Like, shut up. Like, as an amateur,
on the other side of that, like, it's been hard. Brock's had really struggled to find you opponents.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
it's difficult.
And I mean, that's true of a lot of people that fight with Brock. I mean, I know that when I was looking, when Brock was trying to find a fight for me, I mean, it was very difficult for him to say, like, he's like, okay, I got this guy, his first fight, he's old as fuck, but he's a brown belt with me. And people are like, oh, well, I don't want to fight him. Like, it's like, yeah, but like, did you miss the old as fuck part?
And, yeah, but like, you can't blame him though, because you're like, oh, it's his first fight? He's a brown belt under you? What the fuck is, like, what are you trying to get me into?
Which is kind of, and then when Brock finally, like, Kelly said he would do it, Brock called me. He was like, hey, I got a fight for you. And I was like, awesome. He's like, nah, it's not that great. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you're probably not going to win.
And I was like, super tough.
I was like, well, what do you mean? What's wrong? Why not? And he's like, well, he's a black belt. I was like, oh, that's all right. He's like, yeah, he's a pretty good wrestler. I was like, well, that's all right. I said, is he at least old? He goes, yeah, he is old. I said, sweet. Well, we can do it then. I said, is there no chance I can win the fight? He goes, nah, there's always a chance.
Always a chance.
Yeah, there was no chance.
Had that puncher's chance.
God damn. He's a good wrestler. Anyway, so it was hard to find fights for you, but I didn't know the part about Ben being a bitch.
Yeah, so he agreed verbally, like I said. Then I guess his management or something said no. Which is fine. Whatever. If you don't want to fight me, that's fine. Just don't talk shit.
I mean, what would he would have had to he'd had to have like weights in his pockets.
I have no idea what would have happened. I doubt he's that light.
You think he's actually?
Yeah. I'm sure he would be able to make 45 without weights in his pockets, but who knows? I don't know. I don't know the guy personally.
I mean, if he fights at 25, he's not walking around at 45.
They could turn a guy like that over to me. Whereas Brock,
I know Bobby Lee used to fucking walk around like 200 fighting at 55. So
okay, but that's different because you start that's different.
I guess smaller guys, less.
You can't. There's just way less. So like, it's not that big of a deal for a 200. I mean, it's a big deal, believe me. Yeah, but it's not. Don't believe me, but but it's a lot easier for somebody who's 200 pounds
Yeah.
to cut down to 55 than it is for somebody who's 155 to cut down to 135.
Like, I'm sure
there's just not as much mass. to cut
I'm
down.
sure if I killed myself, I could make 35.
You could, but fuck that.
Yeah, exactly.
See, next time you need a guy that goes to go up in weight, you could like bring me in as like the reverse Brock, you know, like where he will get a guy down to the weight they need to be. Let that guy spend a couple of days with me. He'll come in fat as fuck.
That's a good point.
Be like, just try to keep up. You know, it'll be like we'll have a training montage where I'm just eating mashed potatoes and shit, and fucking he's throwing up and.
So yeah,
badass.
He's carrying around the log cakes on his shoulders and cutting it up.
So he ended up pulling out. I think it was like a 3 or 4 weeks out still, and then we ended up getting a guy named Chucka Willis.
Oh, okay. I didn't know there was another opponent.
Yep.
I just remember the post Brock saying, "I really need somebody at 145."
Chucka Willis. Which, interesting enough, he had beaten the guy that beat me in Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's a good fighter too. I don't know if he can make 45 though, because his original thing was like, "Oh, can we do a catch weight?" And it's like, no catch weights. Okay, and I guess he verbally
can we do
agreed.
45, but I'll miss weight?
Yes, I guess we verbally agreed. So I was like, okay, fighting this guy, and I believe he was like, he's a striker, like kind of unorthodox, real athletic dude. Turns out his excuse at least was he didn't want to come out to Minnesota without his coaches because his coaches were on vacation or something like that. I'm assuming maybe he just couldn't make 45. I'm not sure. I looked up his fights. That fucker was big, and he was a 55er when I watched the fights he fought. So I don't know exactly. Maybe he didn't think a 5-round fight would be smart. I'm not sure. So then we ended up with Zach again.
Yeah. Now, Brock put a post on Facebook
that was
saying
very short notice,
saying like, "Hey, I really need to fight 145. Angel pays good, whatever." And Zach Schroeder stepped up to the plate and said, "Hey, I would love to get a rematch.
Yep.
I know I just fought him and whatever." And so that was cool.
My hat is always off to guys that take fights at short fucking notice.
Yeah. But there was also the like shit talking about it being like illegal blows and blah blah blah. So
now, did that continue? Did that persist?
No, he didn't. From what I know, here's the thing: I didn't follow his social media. The only reason I knew he said all that is because he tagged me in one of the posts. So I was like, oh,
okay. So really, like
my win.
We're like he's he kind of half-assed like implied some shit, but then never really talked shit after that.
Yeah, no. But here's the thing people don't see though. My wife fuck him, kill him next time. My mom, fuck him, kill him next time. My dad, fuck him, kill him next time. So all these people are the closest people that I love are telling me no, don't let this guy.
Your family, your fan base was pretty fucking motivated.
Yeah. So
which I got an enormous kick out of. But you also got some you got motivated, and you got motivated to break out a technique.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to talk about. So what did you do?
Indeed.
So the game plan was and I don't know if Brock believed me or not, but the game plan was to start the fight with a flying knee. So I was like, fuck it. And I didn't want to run at him because I figured maybe he might turn and run or something. He might avoid it. So I kind of just
and then you could flying knee him right in the back of the head.
Yeah.
And then just be like.
So I kind of
take a bow.
Yeah. I kind of walked out a little bit, kind of shuffle, a jumping knee. I don't even know if it landed. I don't know if it landed. It hit his chest or what the heck.
But he also shit his pants.
Yes, most definitely.
So you got to remember, Zach, ended his career on this crazy flying knee.
Yes.
So I'm sure it's not his favorite technique to defend.
Yeah.
And I heard about this beforehand, and I was super excited. I was like, oh my god, that's so devious. To use and so I was super excited to see it. And you did land it for sure. And you watched the video.
Yeah. It's just hard to see how clean it was.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I was hanging right there.
Yeah, because when he fell, I was like, oh shit, I got him. But then he popped back up, starting to wrestle. I'm like, damn it.
Well, it wasn't you didn't catch him right in the button.
Yeah.
But it was still.
But it's a good strategy because I feel like a like a flying knee that breaks your jaw is a lot more impactful than like, if you blow out your knee or something like that. Like having your jaw broke, that's kind of a fucking game changer, I feel like that's more impactful than a lot of injuries that you can receive.
Most definitely. So he did persist. He ended up shooting on me, and actually this time he took me down. The first fight he didn't. He ended up getting me to my butt. I popped back up pretty quick. Used the same elbows on his ear. Hurt him. I didn't do as many because he didn't sit there as much.
Right.
I ended up getting the head to the center, sprawling, and then punching him some more. And then I had his head down. I hit him with an uppercut that I believe hit him right in the eye socket. So I'm assuming that's what kind of made him like ball up, and then just kind of kept punching him there. And yeah, they called it here in Minnesota. I think that was Travis.
Travis Minter.
Yep. So,
I was right there, and right behind me was your family, and your wonderful wife was losing her shit.
Yeah.
And she was like, "You want to fight him again, you fucking pussy?" And just like going ape shit. So that I first of all, I just enjoy your family and your you have like this just great like support.
Most definitely.
System.
Yeah, no, I do 100%. From my wife to my parents to my sisters, my grandma even. Like my grandma never used to watch my fights, just because she hates seeing me get hit, obviously. Right. And she actually went to that fight in person. Yeah, in person. And the first fight she ever watched was the Wilmer fights. So she was a little like I don't know if I want to see him fight again kind of thing, because obviously almost got knocked out that fight. But so then this was her second fight going to in person and stuff, and it obviously went well. So
and you're like, this is much more representative of my style.
Yes. But so that fight went well for me. I think it lasted a little longer than the first fight, but not too much longer. I think I might be wrong. Quick. I'm not sure.
I thought it was faster.
It was still under 2 minutes for sure. And then from there, it was probably about another month, and I had my most recent fight out in Philly.
Right.
Yeah, and that was against Wilson.
The Eagle.
The strong eagle.
The strong eagle.
Wilson, the spread eagle.
So I was like,
what is the name
I'm
of that
ashamed that I haven't watched the fight.
That was CFFC, which is it's a big promotion. It's a lot like LFA, CFFC, and CES, like are kind of the well-known ones that send guys to the UFC.
Yeah, they're the UFC like breeder,
like feeders,
feeder
leagues,
and then they also like air them on
Fight Pass, UFC Fight Pass. And they have awesome venues like the one I just fought at wasn't as like glamorous, but like my first time I was supposed to fight for them in December of last year, I ended up having COVID, so that got canceled. But I was supposed to fight at the Hard Rock Casino in New Jersey, so that would have been really cool. The event, the like arena and stuff was really cool, but unfortunately, like I said, I ended up getting COVID and didn't get to fight, so that sucks.
So was your opponent popular there? You got booed, right?
Yeah, no. So you can't hear it on the Fight Pass video, but Jesus Christ, they were talking mad shit. Like when I walk out, I'm just hearing guys, "You ain't ready, boy. You gonna get effed up." I'm like, damn. Like I'm just sitting here. Like the first thing I thought was, damn, they messed up my music. Because it was I came out to a love song from the same singers, but it was a love song, and I was like, this is not Tigre de Nortes. Like, what the hell is going on? And then Brock's like, don't worry about it. That's the only thing that's going to go bad tonight. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm coming out to this love song.
Angel. Most us Americans, we wouldn't know the difference between those two songs.
But people that can speak Spanish understood. It's like, what is the guy walking out to? Probably like, what the hell? I don't know.
I really wanted to walk out to Tenacious D with Karate I'll Kick Your Ass. I thought that. But
what did you walk out to?
It was a song called it was by Guy Clark, and it's a what the hell is the name of the song? Bag of Bones. And it's just about an old man and like how he's more than, his broken body and his old fingers.
That's cool.
I liked it. I love the song.
You should have walked out to "I Am a Warrior" by Atreyu.
I am a warrior.
I'm trying to think.
I tried to.
I talk shit about it.
The guy,
the motorcycle guy,
yes.
just rocking that, like driving through the parking lot.
Badass.
It's a long story. It's actually not, but it's not a great story.
I really do like the song I walked out to, but it was like my 5th choice. I wanted
why couldn't you use the other one?
They just fucking said no because it was in
weird.
It was the
LFA or Legacy.
Legacy.
Yep.
And they
Did you get to keep those gloves, by the way?
oh yeah, no, I have the gloves.
Those are cool gloves.
But they never. I don't have any footage of the fight. They wouldn't. It's just a pain in the butt. But yeah, so they kind of control. They like let me choose, which is nice because some organizations don't. But they're and so I'm like. So I tried with karate. I'll kick your ass by Tenacious D. No, I was like, okay.
Did you ask for "Do You Really Want to Hurt Me" by Culture Club?
I wish they probably would have let me do that, but I wanted. Then I was like, okay, how about DVDA? Now I'm a man. You know that song? It's the South Park guys.
Yeah.
And it's like, what makes a man? Is it the woman in his hand?
Oh no.
Or the size of her titties? Is it the way he fights every day?
It's because of copyright stuff, right?
Probably the titties.
People walk out to certain things.
I don't know. Maybe copyright. So anyway, it was like my 4th choice. But.
Man. Or another one that I thought would be great was fucking "Bump and Grind" by R. Kelly.
Oh, that's not. Do you really want to hurt me? It's not a bad one, but
no.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were really hostile. They were super duper hostile, talking shit.
Yes. Now, who is the crowd?
The crowd was super crazy.
Did they he wasn't well known to this crowd? It's not his hometown. It is.
Yeah, because he literally lives across the bridge in Jersey.
Oh.
Yeah. So he's from Albania or whatever, but he probably lived there for a couple of years.
They probably saw you walk out with your Mexican flag or something, and they didn't even. But they're not thinking this guy's actually from Minnesota.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, this guy barely speaks English.
Yeah.
Because he said he had a fucking really thick accent.
Yeah, super thick accent, and like a blue, like a red and white flag.
So did that bother you, them booing and shit?
No, because I always get booed. I feel like unless it's like central Minnesota.
Right.
As an amateur, I was never the favorite, or not never the favorite, but just not the hometown guy. For the most part.
You will be now that you've come on our show, and both of our viewers have seen you.
Most definitely. But no. So it didn't bother me. It's just like, oh wow, I don't know. It's just it's always weird to me when people in the crowd are that negative. I don't know. It's just even in boxing, when I was about to fight somebody, you clap for the guy that you're about to fight when they're announcing.
MMA fans are the worst.
Yeah.
I can honestly say I've never fucking booed anybody.
Yeah, even when I corner guys, if I'm cornering someone from our team.
If we go to Austin, I'm going to boo and throw shit at Nat Legoo, and I'm gonna get kicked out before the fight. And
he doesn't mean debris; he means poop.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I mean poop. My own poop. And my own poop, somebody else's poop.
I was gonna say when he runs out of his poop, he's gonna throw my poop, and you don't want that.
But yeah, no. Even when I corner guys, if they're fighting my buddies, I'm clapping. It's just it's whatever.
It's weird because I find MMA fans for the most part to just be garbage. But I find MMA fighters to be for the most part so respectful.
Yeah, for the most part.
Especially once the fight is over. But you've never been the kind of guy who's needed to pump himself up to fight somebody.
No. I'll say the only thing that's kind of taboo that I never necessarily do is touch gloves.
Oh,
I don't ever touch gloves. Just because I've seen so many videos of somebody touch, punch.
You agree not to.
Yeah, I tell them.
Which
even
no problem with that.
Even when I fought Zach the first time, when I went up to him literally before the fight, I was like, hey, just letting you know, I don't touch gloves when I fight. Because I had seen in his previous videos him touching gloves. So he's like, oh, okay, cool. And normally even this fight against Wilson, he came out, putting his hand out. I backed up, I said no, and then we fought.
I've seen. I don't think you should.
It's
touch.
Just,
if you're gonna touch gloves,
do it in the center.
Fight, and then
do it in the center and back up.
But Adam McDonough, one of my favorite. I talk about this all. It's the same takedown though. So Adam McDonough, big fight. I can't remember where it was, but beforehand, they both like this. They go out, he touches gloves, and the other guy comes over just racks him, basically knocks him out. But Adam's too dumb to get knocked out. So he hits the ground and then grabs and comes right up and basically does that same. It's the shit I just got knocked out takedown.
The Cody Milhausen.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, Cody.
You should name it the what the fuck? Oh, I found a leg.
Did you see Cody commented on the thing, and he said if you guys want an Irish boxing lesson, he's willing to. I was like, fuck, I don't really want to get hit by Cody.
That fucking kid is tough.
It's just you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. I spar with the guys.
The Irish boxer.
Yeah,
like come on, let's
fucking
just lower.
Yeah, right. Chin up, hands down. Let's go.
I'm gonna put my fucking chin out there and give you something to throw at.
I love that kid, but I actually went to high school with him and stuff like that.
Did he fight? Did he clearly he wrestled, but did he fight?
Stuff? Yeah. I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm not sure.
How
old
are
hang out
you?
With them that much. I'm 30.
Oh,
yeah.
So you're old enough to still have fought in school, right?
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay. Yeah, before that was not
right.
A no. Yeah.
No, you just do it.
My son has never even come. He's 20. He's never even come close to a fist fight. He can't even imagine that happening.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
that kid you must have been you were probably one of the last years of guys that could actually fight in school without them calling fucking everybody and putting you on medication and shit like that.
Yeah, probably.
Because even my son's 26. And there were no kids, nobody in his school fist fought. There was nobody.
I was telling the story when we were at dinner the other day about I got recruited to the football team because of a fist fight in school.
Funny.
Yeah, the coach pulled me off and then said, "Hey, you have a lot of aggression. You ever think about playing football?"
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I told you about our little fight club getting shut down and stuff like that when we were little and stuff. It didn't used to be a big deal.
Right.
Two young guys working shit out in the parking lot. But now it's a fucking
I remember when I was younger. There's I don't remember who did it or what, but it was a fight club. It was one of the kids' basements. They just throw gloves on and box with each other, and they all sucked, obviously. But it's cool. Just a bunch of dads letting their sons go and fight each other. That's cool, I guess.
When I was pretty young, probably 7 or so, me and my buddy used to get together and box, but we only had one set of boxing gloves.
Oh, fun.
So we would take turns for the right hand.
Oh, perfect.
Getting the left hand sucked.
I remember pretty much. I'm trying to remember. We went to a fire or something at my cousin's house, and I ended up bringing my boxing gloves, and we all ended up boxing in the garage of his garage, and his mom had came home. And they're Christian parents and stuff. Yeah. And she comes home, opens the garage door, and I'm boxing with my cousin Armando, and he's a big guy. He's a real big kid. And I remember I was just getting hit, boom, boom, and then I'd go 1, 2, and then block again, boom, boom. So his face was just bloody.
Oh, no.
Horribly bloody. Blood all over the floor. And she comes in, and she's screaming at us what are you doing? Why are you guys doing this? It's oh no, we're just having fun. She's just what the hell, this is not fun. You guys clean this up and go and sit around the fire. It's okay, I guess, but that's
you should be smoking weed.
I was I already had because everything's that little weird movie playing in my mind. I was hoping that you were going to say she ran in and tried to get in between you guys and got knocked out or something.
No, nothing like that. But that's always been my idea of fun, is hitting your friends, you know? I don't know, or family, I guess. But yeah. So we started the first round for that last fight. It was going okay. He's kind of a little trickier than I thought. It's just because I think partially because he's a southpaw, and I don't get to see that as often, And he was a lot faster than I thought he would be. He was quick as shit. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, he had a good record and stuff. Sounded like a tough guy.
No, yeah, he was a good fighter. I went in like with a right cross and a left hook, or I was gonna throw a left hook, but I messed up. My left hand went away from my face, and while I was throwing my right cross, he threw a 1, 2, 3, and the 3 landed right on my chin, put me on my hands and knees. The moment I hit my hands and knees, I started scooting. He came up, guillotine choked me, started like lifting me.
So he dropped you, and you went base turtle, and then he
like here, on hands and knees, and it's a weird thing because that's only happened to me one other time in a boxing match where I got hit with a hook, ended up on my butt. And I was like, what the hell? What am I doing down here? Kind of thing. But in boxing, obviously, they're not hitting you once you hit the ground. Right. So I'm sitting here, like, in this boxing match. I look over at my coach, and he's like, all right, get up. You know what you're doing. It's like, oh, weird. Okay. And it wasn't like I was hurt. In both situations for that, it wasn't like the Damien thing where my body wasn't reacting because obviously I started scooting right away and stuff like that. So I was completely conscious. I was fine. Originally, even after the fight, I went to the back and I told Brock, I think I slipped because I didn't know I had gotten hit even.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. But watching it back on the film, I'm like, oh shit, I did get hit.
Isn't it weird how you don't how you have a totally different memory?
Well, yeah, it's particularly weird because when you were talking about a fight earlier, I was like marveling at how fucking crisp your recall is.
Yeah.
Because you were talking about which fight was it? But you were like you had it down like exactly what you were thinking at the second, at that second, everything. So your recall is obviously really good, but you get clipped.
Yeah, it's gone. It's gone.
That got deleted.
I'll never know what the heck happened exactly in that moment.
Well, Cody in the last fight in
St. Cloud.
And St. Cloud, yeah, like that. I guess he
was out,
missing a part. know.
No, for sure, and that happens sometimes. So I got put down. He grabs a guillotine. And he's cranking it, and like right away when he grabbed the guillotine, I was like, I'm not really worried about it. And then he started lifting, and then I'm hearing Brock like, get up, like, what are you doing? Because I was resting. I was just like, he's just gonna gas his arms out. But then like when he started lifting, it started choking me. I was like, oh, I better get fucking moving.
And were you were relaxing, but you were fine?
No, I was coherent. Yep, I was fine. So then I started fight hands, whatever. I started coming up, and my main goal was like, okay, he's gonna gas out his arms, but he was a little smarter.
It's not a great defense.
It is though. It's great. I think it's great because you squeeze real hard.
Arm in or arm out? It
was no arm in.
No arm in, and you were just.
But
I
was
let
here.
them.
I was here on
squeeze?
it. I was here on it. But then he adjusted and went high elbow, and I was like, "Oh, I better not let him squeeze this." So I fought hands, got up, turned out whatever, and then we kind of kept fighting on the feet. He ended up pressing me again, took me down. I got up, hit a couple of those elbows to the ear, and then the round pretty much ended. And right away I go back to the corner. Brock's like, you probably lost that round. Like, let's just keep pressure on him, stay on him, use your cross, commit to your cross, this and that. I'm like, okay. And my dad
gives such good advice in the corner, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Because he's not. I mean, I don't ever want to say he's not a fantastic striker, but like he's very precise on. Right.
He understands what's going on.
It's just millions of MMA matches,
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I was pretty calm, and he's like, you see he's slowing down, right? I'm like, yeah, like it's pretty noticeable, at least in the moment it seemed like it was. And he's like, okay, just keep pressure, you'll get him, you'll catch him with something. I'm like, okay. So then we come out second round, and it's a lot more pretty much all stand up. He doesn't really wrestle anymore from that point. Until I start landing some body shots, which I knew were working pretty well. I landed some kicks too in the first round, body shot kicks, and then
you've always liked to work the body.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
And it actually brought.
And I think that's something that is like everybody's a headhunter,
Yeah.
But man, it doesn't take like how many people have you dropped with body shots? 3?
In fights?
In fights? In MMA fights?
Yeah.
In pro MMA fights? 3?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, no. I love body shots. I feel like anybody can have a hard head and you can kind of like take something like that. But if you get hit in the liver, it doesn't matter. Like your body will not allow you to continue. You know what I'm saying? Like it just shuts you down. Because I've been hit with that same thing. And it's like, oh shit. Like you can try to will yourself through it. Doesn't matter. Your body just shuts down. Literally shuts down. And that's the worst thing ever. It's only second to being Bambi legs when you're rocked like I was in Wilmer, in my opinion. But so then I was throwing a left hook, and I've noticed he kept like crunching, like kept kind of like bracing himself for my punch. I'm like, oh, well, he's staying there now, because before he was just running, like laterally moving, so I'd have to disengage, re-engage, disengage, re-engage. So he's starting to kind of sit, and either that means he's going to try to throw something hard back at me, which he was punching hard the whole fucking fight. Like, that's why he gassed, I believe. But so he started kind of sitting. I'm like, oh, the knee's there. Okay, I'm going to try it. And then I believe he shot in on me. I stopped the takedown, and so threw a couple more hooks just to test to see if he was still going to sit. He sat. I threw it, jumping knee, boom, hit him right on the chin. From there, I see he's doing like the wobbly legs like I did, like I said.
Yeah, it was evident that he...
And I threw a left hook. I barely missed it. Threw a punch. He fell, and then I kept punching. Ended up getting hooks in, flattened him, short choke, finished him. And, yeah, it was a good showing, at least that second round, and even the first round I did good.
Again, I think it's good. Yeah, like it shows that you can take some punishment and then keep going, and you weren't really punished.
No, I didn't take too much damage. Just that, like I said, like that right hook, like flash knocked me down, which I think, from my understanding, it's like you like get knocked out like very quickly, and then you come to.
And you didn't freak out during that moment in the biggest fight of your career so far.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just good not to take much damage after that. I get really concerned about like the concussions and all that.
Yeah, see, my fight in Georgia, when I had that fight, that dude had me mounted. He was elbowing me in the face. He was punching me on the ground, like all this stuff, and like none of it hurt necessarily. Like it is just like getting hit a lot, and it's like, damn, I can't do shit right now.
So
it sucks.
I went 3 rounds with Kelly Johnson, and he hit me a lot, and but nothing hurt.
Yeah,
like,
it
was
weird,
fine.
Isn't it?
Yeah, the only time is when in the 3rd round he had fucking picked me up and slammed me, and I said, "God damn it, Kelly, you're a hell of a lot better wrestler than I thought you were." We're talking. We got along really good. Like we're like Facebook friends now. And he goes, "Well, you're a hell of a lot tougher than I thought you were." And then he fucking pushed my head to the ground. Fucking bam, a huge one, right on the cheekbone, just a big one. I was like, son of a bitch.
See, that's a weird thing too. Like when your head can't move, it's so much worse.
He pushed my head. It's very very nicely done. Like, but I was like, shit. That was the only one that hurt. But then the next day, holy
it felt like
shit.
a truck hit you.
Well, I had
the takedown. Probably the slam.
I got hit a lot. I was just a solid bunch of little bruises.
Yeah, that was like,
So I put it on Facebook. I tagged him in it, but I said, "God, Kelly, I was just wanted to check on you and see if you were okay." Specifically your hands, because if my head is any indication, your hands are fucked.
Killing you.
And he just wrote. He just said, "You might be the coolest guy I've ever known."
That's so funny.
Yeah, we had a hoot.
So, do you? What's next? You probably can't talk about what's next.
Yeah, I don't think I can technically.
That's all right.
We're not gonna give breaking news.
Yeah, it's good. Just because I haven't signed a contract, and like we don't know dates officially yet. Pretty much.
But there is something on the horizon.
Yes.
That is good.
I for sure will have a fight again this year, assuming I don't get injured or anything like that, God willing. So, yeah, there will be another fight this year for sure.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about the commentary on your fight and so I watched it and I saw the post. So essentially what happened was that the commentators who were kind of it was pretty
lax.
Yeah, like goofball-y commentary.
Yeah, they're making a joke for sure.
But I mean, it's a relatively small like. I mean, they're not fucking Joe Rogan at the UFC, right? Yeah. And I've done shit piles of commentary, and I've said lots of stupid stuff on commentary, because it's live or whatever. Yeah. But what happened is after you were done. Oh, first thing you win, then you come out and you start like saying. Call me to the promoter, right?
To Sean Shelby, yep. For the UFC, yep.
Which is pretty, and they were like, "Whoa, that's pretty smart," which I thought was cool. Yeah. Do you think about that going in?
Prior to the fight, I didn't know if I was or wasn't getting an interview, which I didn't end up getting an interview. I think they only gave the main event the interview.
Okay.
So yes, so the plan originally was to get this fight in and hopefully get onto the Contender Series. But
that'd be nice.
Unfortunately,
I think the Contender isn't I thought that was boxing only.
Nope. That's Dana White's Contender Series.
Oh.
The thing you're thinking about is something completely
Top
different.
Contender. Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a boxing thing. It was actually pretty well done. Like, I loved the way they edited it.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know
It had something to do with Sylvester Stallone. He was like executive producer or something.
So, no, it's called Dana White's Contender Series. Okay. And it's just pretty much like one of the better ways to get into the UFC.
Okay.
You get called if you got like a good record, you're a certain age group, stuff like that. So I was just yelling like, Sean Shelby, give me a call. Like, I'm ready. I'm willing to fight 4 months in a row. I don't care. That's all I was pretty much.
So you were, but you had kind of thought beforehand.
Yeah.
If I do something spectacular.
Yeah. No matter what. Once I won, I was gonna call.
Not no matter what. You get knocked out. Don't be saying, "Hey, no, give me a call."
No, I'm still gonna be, hey, come on, man.
You're on a stretcher in a neck brace and shit. You're like, call me.
If you need a tomato, I'm right here.
But yeah, no, that was the plan for sure after the fight.
And then you.
So then but then like my mind right away goes to Jessica and Alessia, obviously my wife and my daughter, and then they made the comment like, "Oh, you can't call out your side chick," because it's talking about Alessia. Obviously, they didn't know that's my daughter, which is
they didn't give a shit.
No,
it's your daughter.
But they're just trying to be funny,
right?
And I get that, but Jesus Christ. It just irritated me because it's my baby.
It seemed to chap your ass and chap your wife's ass.
No, yeah, for sure. At first, I was just like, oh, haha. And then I don't know. It took me a little bit to like register, like, that's your baby, dude. Like, don't laugh about that shit. So I'm like, whoa, yeah, that is my baby. Like, my mind going through that process is like, man, don't talk about my kid like that. I don't know. Papa Bear kind of hit. And it pissed me off.
I will go Cain Velasquez on you motherfuckers.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just... Yeah, I don't know.
That was pretty good.
I won't miss though.
Dude, I'm gonna get one of those free Cain Velasquez shirts.
For real. That's crazy, Jesus. That's crazy. But
I'm gonna get Cain Velasquez shooting lessons.
But do you know who that interviewer or the commentator was?
No, I didn't know either of them.
That was Dean Thomas that said that.
Dean Thomas.
Former UFC fighter.
God damn it. That sounds familiar, but
yeah, he's Matt Serra's good buddy.
Oh, yeah.
He's Tyrone Woodley's head coach also.
Yeah, okay, I think I know what you're talking about.
Right away, I was thinking
Matt Serra's
Dave Thomas,
really bad,
but
too.
that's the guy from Wendy's.
Not bad. I like Matt Serra, but like he does commentary too, and he says some stupid
no
shit.
matter what though, like the whole fight, I rewatched it and stuff. It's like they're so biased. Just because this guy's fought in the promotion, I guess he was 2-0 in the promotion, but it's just like you're so dang biased. Like I do something good and you hardly acknowledge it, and he punches my hands, and all of a sudden he's affecting me so much. It's just like, y'all crazy. Like,
I fucking hate that shit. You see that a lot in football, and you see that in every sport.
Yeah,
and you're just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Get off their dick.
And part of me is like, I understand, like but who are you commentating for? Like anyone watching on that like UFC Fight Pass more than likely are from out of state. You know, like if anybody from that state isn't in the arena,
because you're
not talking
there
for the people in the actual arena. You're talking for whoever's watching.
Right, because nobody in the arena can hear it.
Yeah. So it's just kind of a weird thing, and I don't know. And I kind of expected that too, like watching Tyler's fight, because he also fought for CFFC a while back. And this was years ago, but he fought a guy that's a good fighter too. But every time Tyler would hurt the guy, they said nothing. But then like the guy would like punch Tyler with a jab, and it's like, oh my God, he's so good and agile. And it's like, shut up.
And it's just that they have some familiarity with one guy, no familiarity with the other guy.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. It's just.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just saying, I was like, yeah, it's just they're just trying to be funny.
Yeah, no,
I'm sure they knew it wasn't your side action.
Yeah.
Your side action's name is Jill. We know that.
No.
Right. So that was like kind of the last thing I wanted to talk about was like you do have this like really huge connection to family.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Which I think is amazing and awesome. And how like. I feel like we'd be remiss to like have you on and not talk about what it's like being somebody not white in this well, great state of Minnesota.
And then with the family thing, and this was just my experience from working in South St. Paul, but like when you keep because we've referenced your family so many times, and I don't mean to make broad generalizations, but when I worked in South St. Paul. I got to be friends with a lot of Hispanic dudes in my gym, and I always thought my family was pretty close. My family wasn't close. Their families were fucking tight. These, so I'm like, I was like, and it's not like I don't know like other like white families that are close, but by and large, we're not as close. It's fucking. That always like I was always like, oh, this is beautiful. I want my family to be as close as all these, as the Mexican dudes that I know. Their families were always really tight.
Yeah,
and really in each other's like everyday lives.
Yeah. No, my dad always tells me like I'm the most white Mexican that he knows. I don't really speak much Spanish, very little. All the curse words and stuff.
Were you born in Minnesota?
I was born here in Minnesota, Wilmer, Minnesota, actually.
Yeah.
My dad originally was born in Oregon. My mom in Michigan. On my mom's side, my grandfather, which passed not recently, but a couple years ago, he was from Texas. I'm trying to remember what spot Texas.
So you're several generations American.
Yep.
I don't think anybody
Mexican American.
But my grandfather, so my mom's mom, she's from Puerto Rico. Like from Puerto Rico. Like she came over here as a kid with my great grandma. That's a crazy thing. Like my great grandma didn't speak any English, didn't know how to write, read, nothing. Still survived. Still had a bunch of kids and thrived. And then on my dad's side, they're both Mexican descent. And I think my grandpa, Ramon Pacheco, was, I want to say first generation here from his dad coming from Mexico. And then my grandma, Frances, I don't know if she was first generation or what. I can't recall, but they were in Texas also when they met and stuff like that. So, my family, so I grew up more so around my mom's family because they lived in Wilmer. My dad's family's all over the place. Florida, Texas, all over the freaking place. I'm trying to think, North Carolina, like just random places. And then my grandpa's kids and like family or brothers and stuff are my grandma also are either in Florida, Michigan. So they're kind of like further away. So I grew up super close to like my uncle Gilbert, my aunt Estella, obviously my grandma Josephina, grandpa.
That's just funny. I don't think I could name Gilbert. I could name my uncles and aunts.
Oh, okay. Okay, but the thing is like how you're saying like it's weird. Like my wife kind of said the same thing too. Like when she met our family and stuff like that. Like
it's beautiful.
I literally will go to my grandparents' house unannounced, anything. Just walk in the house, grab food from the fridge, sit down. Hey, Grandpa, what's going on? Stuff like that. And she, like, the first time I did that, she was like, "What are you doing? You don't do that at your grandparents' house. That's so disrespectful. This and that." And I'm like, "Well, what's disrespectful?" And my grandpa, oh, hey, mija, da da da, matter, whatever. And it's just like it's so different just culturally in that sense. Like I've seen that a lot just because, you know, I don't know. I obviously I'm not a white person, so I don't know how weird that is, you know, or at least to other people.
I don't think anybody I know would like if they, I mean, we just use the word weird. I think we all like envy that, you know, because of the closeness and everything.
Yeah.
Everybody
it's not weird.
So was your family, because obviously, well, not obviously, but your wife is white.
Yeah.
Like a cracker is like, I actually don't know. But anyway, how were they welcoming to that, or were they like, oh, we really wish you meet a nice Mexican woman, or like how was that?
So
is your wife's Spanish better than yours already?
She probably is. Probably is, actually.
The reason I ask is because my daughter, her boyfriend, they've been together for like fucking 10 years now, forever. And he's Mexican. They moved here from California when he was younger. Oh, yeah. And her Spanish is way better than his.
Oh, that's funny. I'm sure if she worked on it, it would be. But she's a very intelligent person. No, they're all pretty accepting. I will say my father, just in general, was always like, oh, you should be with a Mexican person.
Yeah.
But I think that's just the way he was raised. Right. So it's like, Dad, you married a half Puerto Rican, so I don't know.
He probably feels differently now that he's got a granddaughter out of it, though.
Yeah, for sure. No, he loves her now, and you know, and like my grandparents have always been like super, like they love her too. You know, like I said, they call her mija and things like that, which means daughter and stuff like that. So it's good.
Nice.
Yeah. And like I said, though, like she's still like to this day, like if I go to my parents' house, I go in their fridge and talk to, you know, she's just like, what are you doing? Like, you can't do that. Like, don't expect them to come to our house and do that sort of thing. And it's like, well, they can though.
Yeah. Right.
Like I get it, but they can though. It's okay.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I don't know. And yeah, we're super close, I would say. Like I said, even growing up, like they're supportive and financially or whatever the case might be. Like my dad knew I wanted to do jiu-jitsu. He went and found a place and sent me. And it wasn't necessarily like Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but it was the closest thing.
Right.
You know?
That's what. Yeah.
Or he got me like the old Gracie DVD, like the little
cool.
box set where you can get a blue belt through them. The combatives, Gracie combatives.
Gracie combatives. Yeah.
Yep. I got that thing still, and like stuff like that. You know?
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah,
that's one of the things, and I think it's super, super important because I think, I don't know if you know this or not, but a lot of fighters are pretty fucked in the head. I don't know if you've ever met any of them, but they're
for sure.
Because I think it takes a little bit of a screw loose to like be willing.
There's got to be something
to put everything on the line. Like that all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that if they don't have if a fighter doesn't have something that truly like grounds them, they're never going to be able to keep it together upstairs.
No, yeah.
And that is a hell of a lot more important than keeping it together physically.
No, right? I agree.
Because how many fighters have we known who have like, God, you know, we talk about it and you're like, God, he was great, and then he fucking
there's a bunch of potential, but they can't seem to get through whatever mentally is blocking them from being great, you know.
And I think what really helps is being grounded.
Yeah,
having something definitely. that keeps you going. I think that
it's funny you say that. Like in my, like I said, my last fight when I was scooting away from the cage, literally it's crazy. The first thing I thought was like, well, Jess ain't gonna like seeing that on the on the thing, because it's like, oh, I just got hit. And that was like one thing that she had said after the Damien fight. She's like, I understand like you want to get to this place, and she wasn't like telling me not to fight or anything, but she was just saying like, I need you to be more safe. It's like, I understand that, babe, but sometimes things are out of our control. You know, I can't, obviously if I could have avoided that knee that fucked me up, I would have. But, you know, it's a concern of hers that I don't take too much damage, you know?
And I think that's solid.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But it's also
just
like
impossible.
It's impossible. And honestly, it's not actually in the fight that's dangerous.
No, it's the training.
It's the training.
Most definitely.
Like, I mean, like, I don't want to jinx anything, but like the likelihood of you sustaining a like serious career-ending injury in the fight is almost
always
nil.
Starting from
you got to be careful. You got to take care of it. Which you have been really, really good. Like, as far as But you haven't had no knees haven't been replaced.
No knee replacements, just meniscus tears.
That's nothing.
Yeah,
that's a fingernail. That's really a hangnail.
Yeah, I agree.
I literally probably have known 200 people who have had a little meniscus.
I know guys without meniscus. And
which that sucks. But I mean, it just causes pain. But they're not gonna. It's not an ACL.
They can function and do things. But yeah, no, I agree. Like, the family thing is super important. Here's another thing. I don't know if it's a big deal, like, to white folks or other people in general. But, like, we literally have a birthday for everyone. You know, like, we still celebrate my mom's birthday, dad's birthday, my sister's birthday, my birthday, grandparents' birthday. Like, we celebrate everyone's birthday, even if they're freaking 50, you know? Like, we don't skip birthdays.
You have, like, birthday
and we make
parties
sure everyone
and shit?
Yeah, we all get together and go to my grandma's house or go to my parents' house or whatever. And we all get together, buy each other gifts still, and it's like, important to us, you know? And it's not like we need to buy, like, $200 like, gift or anything. It's just being there for each other and stuff like that. Like, just, I don't know. Like, for my uncle's birthday, we're going to Paris next week. Me and my wife. Yep. So for my uncle's birthday, I'm bringing him out to Thomas's fight because I'm going to corner Thomas. But before Thomas's fight, I'm going to go hang out with him out at the table and stuff because it's his birthday. And my dad's birthday is the day before we leave to Paris. So he's also coming with us. And
so you are going to be down there for?
Yeah.
So if I can't make it, will you throw some shit at Matt Legoo on his way back?
I will not.
Well,
what if we have it in neat bags?
Yeah,
Ziploc bags?
I was going to say I'll actually shit in a bag now and then give it to you, and you can just hang on to it.
I'm good. Oh man, but yeah, no.
I'm going to tag him in this.
Oh god.
Actually, no, I'm not, because he blocked me.
You're just a bully.
I am not a bully, but.
You're just mad he's better than you at jiu-jitsu, huh?
All right. Hey, we got to fight now. Actually, Matt Legoo might be better than me at jiu-jitsu, but that's not the point. He's a douchebag. That's the point. I am not a douchebag.
That's true. True. You're not a douchebag. I will say that. And he can be.
It can be. He fucking said in a room full of fucking...
Okay, yeah, he's a douchebag.
He's a douchebag.
Yeah, he is a douchebag. You're right. That's true. I forgot. Yep.
You forgot the story you told?
Yeah.
Well, there's a recording of it.
I just try to be as nice to people.
You are a fucking nice guy.
It's just like there has to be something wrong.
You are intensely likable. Everybody agrees.
It is
to say that though in a room full of Brock and Randy and Tony and everyone. Like, how are you gonna say that? There's something wrong right here.
It is called retardation. There's a diagnosis for it and everything.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Anything else we need to cover?
I don't believe so.
All right. Well, you have to let us know, like, we'll find out. Yeah. But I'm really curious what the next step is, and then you got to make sure that you come back, even if you get so famous that you're too big for this place.
Definitely.
We'll have to do some kind of update on the show when we find out what's next for you.
Almost definitely. Yeah. No, it's exciting. It'll be important for sure. I mean, no matter what, next fight is always going to be really important. Obviously, I got to keep winning to get to the UFC. So,
and is that the ultimate goal? I mean, you want to be UFC champion? Is that your thing?
Yep.
Really? Just go all the way?
Yeah, that's what I want. I mean, obviously, getting there is a big achievement as well. But yeah, that's the goal. Like, I feel like if that's not the goal, like, what's the point? What's the point of doing it? Like, I don't want to just be some random guy that did it. Like, obviously, another thing too, though, like, that I think about just in general is, like, I want to teach my daughter, like, no matter what your dream is, you should follow it. And like people that like, if you're with someone, like with me and Jess, someone that loves you, or my parents, they love me, they're gonna do as much as they can to help you succeed at your dream, and not everyone's gonna make it. Like, I don't know for 100% sure if I will ever be a UFC champion or a Bellator champion or whatever the championship might be. I don't know, but I will not die. I won't be an old man in a deathbed like, dang, I should have went for it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's my biggest thing. Like, I have this ability to continue doing these things, and as long as my body and mind is willing to go through it, I'm gonna keep doing it. You know, and as long as it's safe enough to where I'm not getting knocked out every fight or something crazy like that. But I mean,
don't go the Jens Pulver route.
At that point you have to be like, my body just can't do it no more.
Yeah.
But
I always hate that when you have a guy who's a good fighter and then they get knocked out a couple times and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, they're just
and then there's at that point it's Brock's job and Jess's job and my parents' job to be like, hey Angel, we love you.
Right.
You went for it. It's time to stop.
To stop.
Yeah. So,
I don't feel like you'll have that issue.
No.
Who knows? But I've always found you to be like a really great. So let me make a little bit of a confession. I'm not all that fond of fighters. There we go. Not all of them, but
it's because what did we find out right away? Like about MMA. It's really fun. It's a great business. The only thing that sucks about MMA, fighters
and the fans. Really, there's nothing about
the fans too.
No, but I've worked with people who have fought for years and years and years and trained with them, whatever. But my approach to jiu-jitsu, my approach to training is like, I like to have fun. I like it to be whatever. There's this hyper competitiveness that fighters have that kind of takes a lot of the fucking fun out of it. All right. So some dudes getting, Bobby, who I love Bobby, but Bobby's getting ready for a fight.
He's killing it.
I am now I'm a body to be sacrificed upon the altar.
Fucking ragdoll.
Right? So that's not fun.
Yeah.
Right? So but I've always enjoyed training with you, and I've never had that I've always thought it was cool, even when you're kind of in the zone, you're still able to play and have fun and realize that I don't have to you don't have I feel like sometimes when fighters feel like they have to be in the mindset to kill, and you're like, no, I know where the switch is, bro.
Yeah.
I can just flip that on.
No, most definitely.
And so I think being grounded like that helps a lot.
Yeah, no, I agree. I will say it's harder for me to turn off when I'm sparring. It's a little bit more.
I don't let you punch me.
Yeah, it's a little bit more of
not with those body blows and shit. Fuck that.
Fuck that.
It's kind of I don't know. It's just hard. But with jiu-jitsu, I don't see the point in trying
having to kill people. Yeah,
trying to hurt somebody. It just takes away from yourself. Okay, that doesn't help. Me hurting you doesn't help.
Right.
Me.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense. Maybe my ego's I fucked him up. But
who was I just talking to? I can't remember. Dylan Christensen, maybe we were talking about it. But I was we were talking about painful techniques and stuff. And I was I actually think it's really great if you can get to the final result. And they didn't even realize that it, they were never hurt, and they were never even they never even realized that they were in a bad spot, and now they just go to sleep. That's wonderful. That's the gentle art of jiu-jitsu.
So I've had this debate with a bunch of people at the gym actually. I don't like if I choke somebody with a anaconda or a darce or whatever, I ask them, was it a crank?
Right.
And then they're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, I'm sad about it. And then they're like, whoa, it still tapped me. It's yeah, but you don't understand. You're going to get a guy like me in a fight where it's just a crank. It's only a crank. I'm not tapping to that.
Right.
I'm going to let that shit get,
it's going to hurt like a son of a bitch. Once I get my head out of the hole, now I want to fucking kill you cranking little bastard.
And I remember having that conversation with Tyler, and he had a fight at LFA, and granted, he took it on 24-hour notice, and he went up 2 weight classes. He fought at 170. He normally fights at 145. But
and he is 170.
Yeah, he's a big boy. But
I mean that's
he got this guy in a rear naked choke, but it was a crank, and he pulled on that damn thing so hard. Didn't end up getting it. Ended up losing a split decision against the guy. But I'm sitting here dude, if you would just have had it perfect, if that would be your goal all the time, the perfect choke instead of a crank or whatever, that fight would have been over there and then.
No, I agree with you 100%. It should a perfect submission should be painless to the victim, and should almost be a surprise.
Yeah. So that's kind of why I love the short choke.
Yeah, your short choke is killer.
Because I won't squeeze until it's, it's on, and I know I'm under the chin. Okay, no matter what, now he can't get out.
I actually think that now we're into the minutia of MMA, but I actually think like the rear naked choke is garbage in MMA. I mean, it's not so garbage, but because of the gloves, yes. you can't get that in. You can't. Yeah, guillotines are hard. But that short choke is just it's made because the bottom of the glove, right, acts as a fulcrum on the shoulder, so it gets that you can. Yeah. It's the bomb choke. Like that's.
I love it. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I finished like 2 pro fights now with it. It's my favorite. Like instead of a rear naked, that's my favorite to go to right away.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and you don't have to fight the gloves.
No, it's so.
It is really weird how much like the dynamics of jiu-jitsu change just with
gloves.
Well, from gi to no gi, which is like a whole different world, and then from no gi to gloves. Like is another huge step,
and the punching and everything.
Well, then let alone punching. Yeah, and it's weird to punch from weird positions because you're not. No. It's like it's one thing if you're standing up and you're boxing, but it's quite another to create power when you're in this weird position on the ground and so on and so forth. We've just everybody who's not into MMA just got bored out of their fucking mind.
Most definitely.
All right. Well, anything else you want to add?
I got nothing.
Awesome. This was really fun. I've been wanting to do this for a long time,
absolutely.
and we will definitely do it again.
No, I appreciate you guys.
All right. I got to
Thanks for coming
really
on.
Bad now.
Oh, so much.
All right. We will talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
I got the blues so bad one time it put my face in a permanent frown. You know I'm feeling so much better I could cakewalk into town. I woke up this morning feeling so good, you know I laid back down again. Throw your big leg over me, mama, I just might not feel this good again. My baby, oh my baby, I love the way she walks. When my girl gets sleepy, I love the way she baby talks. My work done got scarce, honey, all my work, it done got hard. I spent the whole day stealing chickens, mama, from the rich folks' yard. Got the blues so bad one time it put my face in a permanent frown. Now I'm feeling so much better I could cakewalk into town. I wanna go on a picnic in the country, mama, and stay all day. I don't care if I don't do nothing, just while my time away. I got the blues so bad one time it put my face in a permanent frown. You know I'm feeling so much better I could cakewalk into town.